The University of Delaware Blue Hens football program is not exactly the best. Entering just their second season in the FBS, it's clear they have a lot of work to do. In the most daunting and challenging rebuild this team has ever seen, I'm giving myself 10 seasons to send Delaware from the bottom of the college football totem pole to the top of the mountain, hoisting a national championship trophy. Today is our first chapter, where we begin what is certainly going to be a long and hard, journey. The Delaware Blue Hens are certainly going to be one of the most challenging rebuilds inside of college football 27. I think it's fair to say we've got our hands full for this series. Delaware goes into Season 1 as just a 1-star prestige. Only 100 available Dynasty points graded as an F, and in bold red, very high job difficulty. That's certainly not intimidating. Now, it's not all doom and gloom for the Blue Hens, who went 7-6 in their inaugural FBS season, winning a bowl game. This is a winning program during their time in the FCS, and we're hoping to carry that over. But with less than 1,000 Dynasty points to spend on the entire program, it's going to be really hard. The athletic director is certainly going to challenge us to keep this program afloat, despite not exactly having the resources to do it. This is certainly going to be the most challenging rebuild I've ever done on a college football game. And the format of this series is going to be quite a bit different than what I've done in the past, which I'll explain a little bit more about in the next couple of minutes. But first, we have to create our new coach. We can choose a motivator, a recruiter, or a tactician. I think I'm going to choose the recruiter archetype because I think it's going to be really hard to bring talent to the University of Delaware. So with that, I would like to introduce everybody to head coach Kieran Riddle. After 3 injury-riddled, pun intended, seasons at Virginia Tech, Riddle transferred to the University of Alabama, where he ended up winning the Heisman Trophy and leading the Crimson Tide to a national championship appearance before getting drafted number 1 overall by the Cleveland Browns, where he's become one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Look, if he can save the Cleveland Browns, I think there's a world where he can save the Delaware Blue Hens as well. I had a hard time choosing his pipeline, though, because he's originally from Baltimore, Maryland. But believe it or not, there's not really a Maryland pipeline in the game this year, which is crazy because Maryland has a lot of talent. There's also not a Delaware pipeline either, so I ended up choosing the Big Apple, given that that's probably the closest to the Maryland-Delaware area. With that, Coach Kieran is ready to rock and roll. We're going to sign the contract to be the new head football coach for the Delaware Blue Hens, as we hope to be the guy who leads the team into glory. We know this is going to be a challenging rebuild, and it's not going to happen overnight. That's why I'm giving myself 10 seasons with this program to hopefully win the national championship. But let's figure out what we're working with, because I think there's actually a lot of promise on this initial roster and some fun players who I'm excited to build around. Most of our key guys are not seniors, which is pretty exciting to think about, but a little scary too, given that they're all going to have NIL demands, and we really do not have a lot of NIL to give these guys. So it's going to be very challenging in terms of figuring out which players we're going to build around and which of these players are eventually going to probably leave in the transfer portal. The long-term talent outlook on this roster is not pretty. We only have 4 players who have a development trait higher than normal, and nobody is above impact. We do have a pretty good starting quarterback, though. True junior Nick Minicucci will return as the starter. A 6'2", 215-pound pocket passer, Minicucci is one of the best quarterbacks in our conference and will give this team an opportunity to be one of the most competitive teams in the Conference USA right away. Now, I am a little bit worried this might only be a 1-year partnership, because I imagine there will be power conference schools calling his phone to be their starter once he's a senior. So we're going to have to figure out, for one thing, how good he is and how worth it will be to potentially cough up a lot of NIL for a second season, or if we're going to have to let him go in the transfer portal. Minicucci is very accurate, but he can also move around and make plays out of structure. He doesn't have a super strong arm, but the rest of this game is very promising. I'm not entirely convinced our long-term starter is currently on the roster behind him. Riley Trujillo looks like a solid sophomore. Maybe E.J. Archiel Jr. or Braden Streeter can become the guy. But the quarterback position, other than Minicucci, looks pretty bleak. This team does have a lot of skill position players, though. Jonathan Silver and Byron Ellison Jr. gives us a really nice tandem in the backfield. 2 very unique skill sets, in my opinion. Silver is a 5', 200-pound senior who will likely be the lead ball carrier this year. He stands at 5'10", 200 pounds. I think he's got reasonably good speed, but he's got plenty of toughness as well in the short game. Byron Ellison Jr., meanwhile, is just a sophomore with 2 more years of eligibility, and we're going to have to figure out if he's a guy who we're planning on keeping for the long haul. I really like the skill set. I think he's one of the most explosive players on our team, and in an ideal world, we keep him for 3 years because I think he's got a chance to be really good. 6 foot, 195 pounds, as an East-West playmaker archetype. He has a C-plus conference prestige deal breaker, so I think it's certainly going to be 50-50 whether or not he wants to transfer or stick around for the long haul. But if he does, I think he can be a real building block. Our best player is sophomore receiver Sean Wilson. As an 85 overall, Wilson projects to be one of the best overall players in the Conference USA, but likewise, probably a guy who could just about pick any power conference school he wanted to go to in the transfer portal, given the opportunity. His NIL demands will likely take on at least 10% of our entire NIL budget. That's scary to put into one player who's not even a quarterback, but he might just be worth it. 90 speed, 93 acceleration, 87 catching, and a guy who runs the entire route tree. He's not a great separator, and he isn't the best against press man coverage, but otherwise he checks off a ton of boxes. Pretty good size, pretty good speed, good hands, and gets open. This guy will absolutely be Nick Minicucci's top option in the passing game this season. Along with him, we've got redshirt senior DeJuan Lofton and redshirt junior Bryson Graves. I think Brandon Raymond and Nick Tyree will certainly be guys who play big roles for us in the future, and everybody else below here will probably be redshirted. At tight end, it'll be senior Elijah Sessoms, who's our starter, 6'3", 255. I like the combination of size and athleticism. And then I think Jackson Whitaker could be the long-term starter after him. The offensive line is not great, but center Steven Dembowski gives us one of our top players, and our left tackle is a 71 overall true freshman, and Noah Roserhawk, who could be one of our team's overall building blocks over the next few years. Defensively, we're led by junior safety KT Say. This guy is a ball hawk in the secondary. He's going to be one of the captains of our defense, one of the emotional leaders of our team. He can make plays in the run game. He's tough, he's physical, and he's a true center fielder. You can put him in man coverage in the slot, and you can certainly put him in zone coverage. I would trust him in cover 1, cover 2 responsibilities, taking up a large chunk of the back end because he's so good in zone coverage, and I think he's got enough speed and more than enough smarts to roam the area and make it really hard for opposing quarterbacks to try to stretch the field. I do kind of think the defense is the weakness of the roster, though. Other than Say and linebacker Gavin Mole, we don't have anybody else on that side of the ball above an 80 overall. Noah Matthews is likely to be our top pass rusher, and Jamarion Calabote gives us a really intriguing piece being just a redshirt freshman. This is someone who I think hopefully will be one of the pillars of the defense for a long time, and this is a guy who I'm absolutely going to prioritize in terms of NIL. He doesn't have a very high asking price right now, but as he gets older, I would suspect that number will go up. 6 foot, 175 pounds is a 79 overall with 4 years of eligibility. He's pretty solid in both man and zone coverage right away. 89 speed, 92 acceleration, and pretty good hands. He checks off a ton of boxes for me, and I think he's going to be good in the run game as well. He's more than a willing tackler, and to me, is going to be one of the leaders of this thing who can hopefully turn this ship around. In terms of our Dynasty points, however, we only have 905 at the moment. I think I'm going to choose the talent acquisition setting to allow us to just try to make this football team as good as possible, whether that's recruiting in high school or the transfer portal, which I plan on getting a large chunk of our players from this offseason. I think we're really going to be able to find some gems in the portal. In terms of recruiting, it's going to be pretty tough, because I think the best way to make this team good would be focusing certainly not on 5 stars or 4 stars. These guys are doubled our recruiting budget. That's crazy to think about. I would love to look at 3-star prospects because I think that's where we can really make this team better. The problem is even the 3-star players would take up our entire NIL budget. So I think we have to be selective in terms of the 3 stars we go after. Probably not many. Maybe a quarterback like Patrick Fengupo, who would take up about half of our NIL. I do not expect to land most of these 3 stars. I ended up putting about 15 on the board. If we land 2 or 3 even, it would be a major win. Fengupo has 92 throw power and he's really accurate, but he's not very fast. I don't need you to be a scrambling machine, but 67 speed feels kind of low. Unfortunately, none of the 3-star players I scouted ended up being gems. I don't think any of the 35 players we had on the board actually ended up being gems, which is a little bit scary to think about, but I am confident our recruiting strategy will work, even if it starts off a little bit slow. As for our schedule, we start conference play right away with Western Kentucky on the road. We've got some tough non-con games, including at Vanderbilt and at Virginia. The Conference USA slate is going to be pretty challenging. Liberty's a tough team. Middle Tennessee State's a tough team. Jacksonville State, I think, is pretty good. Kennesaw State is quite talented. But I think with our quarterback and our group of offensive skill position players and defensive star power, this team could absolutely be in the mix to win this conference. I don't think we're going to be the group of 5 representative in the playoff or anything, but I absolutely see a world where we're playing in the Conference USA title this year. And if not this year, when? Because a lot of our top players might not be on the team next year. Western Kentucky's in a pretty similar spot as us. They're only a 67 overall, led by wide receiver K.D. Hutchinson and redshirt sophomore quarterback Rodney Tisdale Jr. 6'2" with 81 speed. He classifies as a dual threat. He can do a little bit of everything. He can make plays out of structure, but also has a pretty good arm. We're starting our season in conference. Certainly a unique challenge. Hello, Big Red. But as we load into this game, I do want to briefly talk about the format of this series because it's going to be a lot different than anything I've ever done before. Normally, my Dynasty series will stretch through the entirety of the College Football 27 life cycle. This series will be a little bit different, though. I plan on getting through 10 seasons, but each episode will be its own season. And we're going to get through the 10 years by the time Madden 27 comes out. That's when I will start my long-term series, and if I choose to use fictional rosters like last year, it will be in this save file. So think of this series as the prelude to what's coming next. Tisdale on an early 3rd down. Intercepted! Noah Jefferson, the freshman safety, comes down with it. I'm really excited about that young corner we talked about earlier, Jamarion Calabote, but Noah Jefferson as well could certainly be a guy who ends up sticking around in the long haul. Here is Jonathan Silver bouncing off a blocker with a juke move and a 1st down. Past the 15, past the 10. A really impressive run by the senior running back who's got us very close to the end zone, looking to score early in this game. 2nd and goal, 5:30 left in the quarter. Corner of the end zone, it's caught. DeJuan Lofton, the redshirt senior receiver with the first touchdown of the series, hauled in by our junior quarterback, Nick Minicucci. And Delaware is off to a great start with the interception, the great field position, and now a touchdown. 3rd and 4 for the Hilltoppers. Tisdale looking deep down the field, broken away for Hutchinson. That was Calabote, the freshman, who got a hand on it, and we're able to force a punt, getting it back on offense late in the quarter. On 1st down, Minicucci up the middle. It's Sessoms, the senior tight end, who hauls it in for the 1st down, and we're moving it really well again. This is Byron Ellison now who gets us in the red zone. The Blue Hens look phenomenal in this first quarter. If we play every quarter like this rebuild might be easier than we thought. Minicucci's pass is broken away, and we're going to have to settle for a field goal to start the second quarter. The kick is up and good from 32 yards by Eli McGee, the junior, and Delaware leads this game 10-0. Western Kentucky has it back, another 3rd down. Rodney Tisdale Jr. down the field, tipped, incomplete. Unable to intercept it. That was Khalil Ali, the junior safety, who got a hand on it. And we get it back on offense with a chance to add to the lead again. Minicucci under pressure, tries to escape, fumbles the ball, and Western Kentucky forces the turnover. Could that be the big play that the Hilltoppers need? Forced away by Vincent Sneed Jr. and recovered by Zaki Lawton. With 2.5 to go in the first half, 3rd and 2. Tisdale floats it up, it's incomplete. Western Kentucky is going to keep the offense on the field rather than kick the field goal and try to make it a 1-score game. Tisdale hands it off. A.J. Allen with the 1st down. He gets it to around the 20-yard line. Allen, the redshirt senior, one of the top players on this offense. Under a minute now in the first half, 3rd and 10. Tisdale up the middle. It's dropped. Oh, my goodness. That was right in his hands. He was wide open. How did he not catch that? So the Hilltoppers will have to settle for a field goal. Chance Bayless on to kick it from 37 yards out in the right hash. His kick is up, and it is good. And so that'll make it 10-3. Our offense doesn't have a lot of time, but we've got a chance to hopefully add to the lead. Minicucci picked off! It's intercepted by Tony Newsome Jr. Down the field, past the 5, into the end zone. It's a pick 6. and Western Kentucky has tied the game. Some miscommunication between Mini Cucci and our number one receiver, Sean Wilson. It was supposed to be an out route. I don't know why Wilson never turned his body. We looked like clearly the better team in that first half. Just a minute ago, it was 10-0. But now the game is tied, and Western Kentucky has swiped away at some of our momentum, and we've got to find a way to get that back going into the second half. Now, luckily, we do start with the ball, and I do think the offense looked pretty solid, but we've got some work to do. We're not going to look at the halftime show every week, but since it's the first week, I do want to take a look at it. NC State over Virginia, C.J. Bailey with 2 touchdowns for the Wolfpack. I think both of those teams could be quietly pretty good in the ACC. Peyton Lewis off to a nice start for UVA. And remember, we play against Virginia in just a few weeks. TCU gets the better of North Carolina, while USC leads San Jose State, and Sacramento State and Eastern Michigan are knotted up at 14 apiece. Into the third quarter, 3rd and 10. We're going to try to catch them off guard, run the ball, and it does not work at all. The Hilltoppers sniff it out immediately. And so Delaware is going to have to punt it away. Western Kentucky's got the momentum following the defensive touchdown, but they're not done. KT Say misses the tackle. A.J. Allen breaks away again and is eventually wrapped up at around the 35. A huge gain, though, of 44 yards. They'll go back to him on 2nd and 3 as he plows through KT Say. He's supposed to be our best defensive player. He's missed 2 tackles on this drive. First down, Allen again. That's a lot more like it. Khalil Ali with the initial hit, and Noah Matthews brings him down. Now a 2nd and 11. Western Kentucky in striking distance of potentially taking the lead. They'll go back to Allen. See? More like that. It's Gavin Mould, the junior Mike linebacker, and that brings us to a pivotal 3rd and 13. Tisdale looks to throw it, scrambles, has room to the right side, but does not get enough, and a big hit late will end the possession. Western Kentucky's going to have to settle for a field goal as Chance Bayless's kick is good, and so that'll make it 13-10. The Blue Hens got some work to do, trailing for the first time today as Mini Cucci's under a ton of pressure rolling out, and it's incomplete. No one was open. Western Kentucky's momentum would carry into the fourth quarter. A.J. Allen with a nice run, breaks the tackle from Ali, and gets it to about the 5-yard line. We've got to find a way to hold Western Kentucky out of the end zone because otherwise they can make it a 2-score game. It's a 1st and goal with about 6 minutes to play here in the fourth. It's A.J. Allen again. He's been the best player on the field in the second half, and he scores the touchdown. 20 consecutive points for Western Kentucky. That pick 6 at the end of the first half really gave these guys a ton of momentum that they've been able to run with. Mini Cucci is sacked again. He's trying to do too much right now. He looked so good early on and is now starting to struggle. 3rd and 14, Sean Wilson's able to make up some yardage, but it's still 4th down and 7, and obviously we've got to go for it with just 4 minutes left. Mini Cucci rolls out on the run. It is broken away in and out of the hands of Bryson Graves. So now Western Kentucky's going to look to chew some clock, trying to end this thing. RPO, Khalil Ali with a huge tackle. The Hilltoppers are unable to convert, and they ended up punting the ball. So we've got it back. 2.5 minutes to go. Mini Cucci rolls out. He's got Sean Wilson, who's been quieter than I would have hoped today. We're trying to get him the ball more, though, and he's been busier in the second half now with 5 catches for 55 yards. Possibly the final play before the 2-minute timeout. DeJuan Lofton hauls it in. Following play, short throw for the running back, Silver, who's not able to make his way out of bounds, but at the very least, the offense looks really good again. Byron Ellison Jr. now into the end zone for a score, and Delaware pushes the lead within 3. That was a really good drive. We did not waste much time, but we've got to give our offense one more shot. We've got to get a stop on defense, and our run defense has been a total disaster in the second half, so I don't love our chances. Look at all that space for Rodney Tisdale up the middle. We've got to start calling our timeouts. We were not expecting the QB draw. Did you see how much room he had? Big Red loving what he sees. 2nd and 6. A.J. Allen, he's close, but no cigar. That brings us to a pivotal 3rd down and inches where Western Kentucky can end this game with a 1st down. Delayed handoff. Allen barely gets it. And there's nothing we can do about. Western Kentucky gets the better of the Blue Hens in our first game of the series. 20-17. We led this game 10-0. And even late in the first half, we were up by multiple scores. But the interception in the pick 6 by Tony Newsome Jr. was clearly the biggest play of the game. It totally stalled our momentum on offense, and it gave Western Kentucky the jolt that they needed in the second half to run loose on us. Their run game was unbelievable, over 7 yards a carry, despite averaging barely 3 yards a pass. The pass defense was phenomenal, but the run defense really, really struggled. Not a great opening game for Minicucci, in my opinion. He looked good early, but struggled as the day went along. I thought we ran it reasonably well. Silver and Ellison both looked pretty good. Through the air, Sean Wilson started slow, but we got him going, and it was very balanced with the passing attack, while the defense was good stopping the pass, but pretty terrible against the run. So not only do we start the year 0-1, but we start 0-1 in conference. No tune-up game to begin. We were being thrusted right into it. I'm not going to show recruiting every week, but I do briefly want to discuss my strategy here. I recognize we're not going to get a lot of these 3 stars. If we can land 2 or 3 of these guys, that would be ideal. If I'm putting a lot of my NIL budget into one player, I've got to really like him. And I like Fangupo's ability to throw the ball, but you got to be able to move a little bit. I'm not asking for 90 speed. Even 75 would be more than enough, even if it sacrifices some of his passing stats. I think Prince Queen might be a better option because he's asking for a lot less NIL. He's listed as a pure runner. I'm hoping he'll be able to throw the ball a little bit. But as I ended up scouting him, I quickly realized this could be our future starting quarterback because he is a gem. 85 throw power, 89 speed. The accuracy is a little bit bleak, but the idea is that we keep Minicucci hopefully for 2 years. We've got Queen developing in the wings, and in a couple of years from now, with hopefully a high development trait, this guy could end up being our starting quarterback. 65 is a pretty high NIL price for a team like us, but it's smaller than the last quarterback we had, and I think this guy has a chance to be better. We're going to try with Queen. We're going to try with a couple of these other 3 stars, but I think I'm going to use a lot of my NIL in the transfer portal because I think it's going to be easier for us to get good talent there as opposed to the recruiting trail. We might end up shifting our points around to allow us to have more points into recruiting and maybe less elsewhere, but we'll figure out where this team is at the end of the year. But I ended up offering some points to the rest of these 3 stars to see basically which ones have interest from other schools and which ones don't. If these guys get scholarships elsewhere, then we're not going to get them. But if they don't have interest from other schools, I think that's where we can come in and try to get them as diamonds in the rough. Hopefully we're able to land plenty of depth before going into the transfer portal, and we can kind of pick out which players we want freely. So our first game is in the books. Unfortunately, it's a loss, and that means now it is time to simulate. So Prince Queen is already down to 5 schools. That was fast. Luckily, we are one of those 5. We are currently in 3rd. So it does look like there might be some more schools interested in him, which is not a good sign because we're probably not going to out-recruit them. Currently, it's Cincinnati and West Virginia who have both offered him scholarships, and he has both of them higher on his list. There is one saving grace here, though. If we get him in for an early visit, and that visit goes really well, then maybe, just maybe, we can make this work. So I'm going to have him come in for our Week 3 game against Coastal Carolina in a few weeks. Hopefully, we can put enough points into him and just have a lot more interest than Cincinnati and West Virginia do. We can't overpower those schools, but we can try harder, because those schools might be going after better players, maybe even at the same position. So our first home game is against FCS East, the equivalent of Merrimack. This is an opportunity for our team to get their lick back. After losing in pretty bad fashion in Week 1 against Western Kentucky, a game that we led 10-0 late in the first half, we've got to find a way to bounce back, and this is our best chance to do it because these guys are an FCS opponent. They are by far the worst team on our schedule. I will say, though, they have pretty cool uniforms. I think normally gold helmets with gold face masks look pretty bad, but I don't know. These guys find a way to pull it off. So let's see if we can hopefully play a little bit better. We need to defend the run better, and we need to be a little bit more efficient on offense, particularly, I think, in the passing game. Starting on defense, it's a 3rd down. These guys don't even have names on the other team as Lefty looks to throw it, and it's broken away. A couple of guys there in the back end able to jar it out. 2nd down, Nick Minicucci rolls out to the right side on the run. He's got his man, Jonathan Silver, with a block. Silver inside the 20. A huge play for the senior running back, looking to get the home crowd going early despite the rain, which does neutralize things a little bit, which doesn't really go to our advantage. I don't want things to be neutralized. Nearing the goal line, 3rd and goal, Jonathan Silver breaking tackles, and he is in for a touchdown. The senior with his first score of the season, and Delaware marches right down the field on drive number 1. We finish it off with a touchdown, and we look pretty good. here on our first possessions on both sides of the ball in the first quarter with a stop on defense and a touchdown on offense. FCS East back with it. 2nd down and 7. Lefty looks to throw it. Looking towards the far side. It's picked off. Jamarion Calabote with the interception. And the Blue Hens are going to get great field position. The freshman picks off the pass. And now here comes Delaware late in the quarter. On 2nd and 2, Minikuchi looking deep. It's hauled in. Jonathan Silver with a couple of big catches. I think he has 50 receiving yards already. And we're able to finish off the quarter with a buzzer beater touchdown. Hauled in by Elijah Sessoms, the senior tight end. A great opening frame for Delaware as we lead 14-0. 3rd and 10 to start the second quarter. The defense with another stop. And FCS East is likely going to have to punt it again. Oh, they're going to go for it. 4th and 2 on their own side of the field. QB keeps it and he's got nowhere to go. Stuffed in the backfield by Dylan Mann. And Delaware's got it back, 3rd and 14. Minikuchi, nobody's open, scrambles, looking down the field. It's caught! Great job coming back to the ball is Brandon Raymond, making it a 4th and inches, close enough to where I think we can go for it. Handoff, Byron Ellison gets the first, and the Blue Hens keep the drive going here at the 2-minute timeout. Now looking at a 3rd and goal. We've got the ball at about the 3-yard line. Minikuchi looking, misfires! He was trying to get it to Lofton, who had a touchdown last week. We're going to go for it again. 4th down and goal. It's Silver, who is stuffed. Not even close. And the FCS East Sentinels will get it back. 3rd down and 8. Lefty looks to throw it in the back of the end zone. Under pressure, he is sacked. 2 hands for safety. We score after all. A couple of guys were there. Blake Matthews along with Dominic Bragonia, who gets credit for the safety. Under a minute left in the half, Minikuchi gets sacked. So that'll make it a 2nd down and 18 now. Minikuchi flushed out to the right, hit as he throws. Jonathan Silver with nowhere to go, but there's a flag. And we just got bailed out. It is a roughing the passer against FCS East. Talk about a get-out-of-jail-free card. Instead of 3rd and 23, we get a 1st down and we can reset the drive. How lucky are we? 1 timeout in 13 seconds. Minikuchi to the left. That one is caught. Brandon Raymond with a juke move all the way to about the 1-yard line. We're going to use our last timeout with 9 seconds left, and we're going to keep the offense out there. We've got to throw the ball here, as that one is caught. Donovan Lewis in for a touchdown. What a great way to end the first half for Delaware. After getting stopped on 4th down on our previous possession, we needed a couple things to go our way, and that's certainly the case. The safety, the roughing the passer call, the 37-yarder by Raymond, and then, of course, the touchdown at the end by Donovan Lewis. 23-0, Delaware leads big going into the 3rd quarter, and guess what? We start with the ball. Bryson Graves weaving through defenders, able to get the 3rd down conversion to the 50. He's impressed me as our slot receiver so far. I like his game a lot. Byron Ellison with a good run nearing the red zone, and we're picking up right where we left off, clearly. Now nearing the goal line. 2nd and goal, Minikuchi is in for the touchdown, and Delaware adds to the lead. Is everybody playing dead? Are we okay? I guess so. It's 30-0. You know who's not okay? FCS East. They're really struggling. 2nd and 1. That ball's out. It's a fumble, and it's picked up by the Blue Hens. As if this game could get any worse for FCS East, it does. Forced and recovered by Blake Matthews. And now on 1st down, Minikuchi rolls out. Corner of the end zone. What a throw! Elijah Sessoms, his 2nd touchdown of the game, and Delaware makes it 37-0. FCS East ended up challenging this call. I don't know why, because he got 1 and then 2. That is an NFL touchdown. So we ended up having the backups in for the 4th. We were able to choose some clock. They did score with less than a minute to go, so we lost out on our shutout, unfortunately. But still a huge win. A major bounce back for the Blue Hens as we take our 2nd game of the year by a final score of 37-7. In a game that we were up 23-0 at the half. We moved quickly in the 3rd, and then we're able to choose some clock in the 4th, get the backups, a lot of run. 4 touchdowns today for Minikuchi, who completed over 75% of his throws. A really, really good win for Delaware. We've got to beat FBS teams now, but this is a good starting point. You can only play the teams on your schedule, kids. They had 89 yards of offense. And a lot of those were against the backups, too. Our defense was brilliant, and our offense was really solid. Nearly 10 yards per pass. We were a little bit up and down on the ground, however. But Minikucci goes 16 of 21, 208 yards. The yardage total would have been higher, but we didn't really have to try much in the second half. He threw for 3 scores through the air, added another one on the ground. Jonathan Silver with a rushing touchdown, and then through the air. Again, I love that we're getting everybody involved. Sessoms had 2 touchdowns. Silver had 57 yards. Raymond had 61. Sean Wilson had -2. You at home, yes, you, had more yards against FCS East than Sean Wilson. We're going to have to find a way to utilize our top target because so far through 2 weeks, it's been kind of a struggle. Defensively, though, we looked unbelievable. We got a bunch of sacks. We were able to force a number of turnovers, but we can't get too excited because it is FCS East. Next week's game is a lot more challenging because we're going to be on the road in the SEC. So it's going to be certainly going from 0 to 180 really quick. As I simulate the week, I'm hoping to get some good news on that quarterback we're going after, Queen. Unfortunately, nothing new with him. A lot of these guys are narrowing their lists down, and we're not on a lot of these lists, but I'm really not worried about it because there are going to be a lot of 2 stars and hopefully a handful of 3 stars who go completely unrecruited throughout the course of the year. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Nobody else wants them, but maybe they could be good players for our team. So we're probably going to be cycling through a lot of players on the board throughout the course of the year, so I'm really not worried about none of those guys having us on the list. Now, it does look like Cincinnati and West Virginia are quite interested in Queen, but I think the fact that we have him coming in for a visit in a couple of weeks gives us a real chance to win this battle if the visit goes really well. But first, we're headed on the road to Nashville, Tennessee against Vanderbilt. The Commodores are 1-0. They also just beat FCS East by a score of 38-10, so nearly identical to what we did. So who knows, maybe this game will be more even than we think. No more Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt, but they do have a new stud 5-star freshman quarterback by the name of Jared Curtis, who leads the way on a roster that has some talent. They're not going to be as good as they were last year, of course, competing for the college football playoff, but they've got some good players. A nice secondary with guys like Martell Height leading the way, an 88 overall corner. They've got a really good safety behind him with Jones. Now, unfortunately, Jared Curtis is not actually in the game. We talked about this in the Best Teams to Rebuild Dynasty video. However, their starting quarterback was a fictional player, so I figured I would edit his name and give him Jared Curtis's jersey number. It's not exactly the same because this guy's a redshirt junior, so it's not like he's going to be here for a while, but at least it'll be similar enough, and we'll be able to call Jared Curtis's name throughout the course of the game, and it'll sort of be like we're playing against him. I really don't know what to expect against Vanderbilt. We couldn't even beat Western Kentucky a couple weeks ago. These guys are obviously a lot better as Curtis keeps it, gets a block, breaks away, and Jared Curtis is gone. Vanderbilt strikes first with an early rushing touchdown, taking a 7-0 lead. 48 yards from the legs of the true freshman, or I guess redshirt junior in the game. As Delaware gets it, Jonathan Silver plenty of space. Rumbling to about the 50-yard line, a gain of 23 for the senior who got very active in the passing game last week. 3 catches, 57 yards. I think he had at least 50 of those in the first quarter. However, the drive is quickly stalled out as Minikucci has to throw out of the sack. 49-yard field goal for McGee is up, and it is good. So that'll make it 7-3. Nice kick by the junior, hailing from Orlando, Florida. So Vanderbilt's going to get it back. Their offense looked pretty good on that opening drive following the touchdown as we start the second quarter with a second down. Curtis under some pressure, scrambles around on the run. It's caught. Look at him just navigating through traffic like it's nothing. He did not look stressed at all on that drive as it's Cedric Alexander now unable to get the third down conversion. And they're going to kick on 4th and 3. I would probably go for it here, but I guess Vanderbilt figures they're the better team. Don't try to get these guys momentum. Brock Taylor, one of the top kickers in the country. That one is up, and it is through. The 85 overall senior makes it 10-3. We've got a chance to tie up, though, before the end of the half. Minikucci's pass is broken away. Jonathan Silver not able to get the first down. And we're going to have to punt it. I think it's too early to go for it on our own side of the field. Final play before the 2-minute timeout. Curtis is sacked. A big play by Trey Scott. The defensive tackle will get it back on offense. Minikucci to the right side. Looking down the field. It's hauled in. Nobody accounted for Bryson Graves. A huge gain, and our offense is in business. Silver does not get it on 3rd and 6, and it's decision time for Delaware. Given that we're not as good as these guys, I think we got to be bold and go for it, but it doesn't work. The pass is broken away for Sean Wilson. That was Martell Height, their best player. Iron sharpens iron, a great receiver against a great corner. 3rd and 6 for Curtis. His pass is caught. Not enough for the first down. Nasir Eatman with a great tackle. Delaware is going to call time, and we're going to get it back on offense again. Only 16 seconds now in the first half. Minikuchi goes to the right side. Scrambles under pressure. That one is caught by Sessoms. But this clock is continuing to move. We don't have any timeouts, and we're going to have enough time for, I guess, one more play if we can get it off. 3, 2, we do get it off. We're going to have to get it to the end zone. Minikuchi lobs it up for Wilson, and it is incomplete. 10-3 at the break, coming off a game where we scored 37 points. We knew it was going to be a lot more challenging, going from an FCS opponent at home to an SEC team on the road. I definitely wish we got more from the offense because the defense has honestly been pretty good. We do start with the ball, but we do nothing on the opening drive as Byron Ellison gets maybe a yard on 3rd down. I've been trying to mix in some runs late in these possessions, but Vanderbilt is not getting fooled. Curtis looking down the field. It's Cole Adams, who used to play at the University of Alabama. He gets the first down, and the Commodores' offense looks pretty good. 2nd down and 5 in the red zone. It's Adams again, gets a couple of blocks. Adams, juke move, touchdown. And Vanderbilt adds to the lead. It's 17-3. So now the offense is really going to have to get going. Direct snap on 3rd down, and once again, Vanderbilt sniffs out the run immediately. We haven't been able to throw the ball. I think we've been more successful running it through the course of the game, but not on 3rd downs. Here comes Vanderbilt. That one is picked off! Noah Jefferson again, what a play! The freshman with his 2nd interception of the year, and Delaware is going to get it back with pretty good field position. So it's basically as if on our last drive, we got the first down anyway. 3rd down and 10, Minikuchi under a ton of pressure. That one is incomplete, and our offense just has nothing going for it. We can't throw the ball. We can't really run the ball. We're getting dominated on that side of the field, particularly in the trenches. It's unfortunate because our defense is keeping us in the game. Vanderbilt only has 17 points going into the 4th quarter. That's really not that much against a team of our caliber. On 2nd and 15, here we go. Bryson Graves past the 40, past the 50. Unfortunately, we don't have the elite speed that a team in the SEC like Vanderbilt does, but still a huge gain. We needed that one. Minikuchi under some pressure, and he takes a hard hit. Minikuchi got the worst of that one, injured on the play. And so Riley Trujillo, the backup, is in. 3rd and 10, Trujillo up the middle, nice throw. Bryson Graves, 5 catches, 104 yards. Minikuchi returns, 3rd and 10, goes short. It's Graves again, his 6th catch of the night. He's having a crazy good game and gets another first down. He's got to have like 70% of our yards in the passing game as just one receiver. 3rd and inches, Minikuchi, end zone, touchdown! Sean Wilson, his first score of the year. We've been waiting for him. He's been quiet so far this year, and now I'm going to go for 2. Minikuchi under pressure. That almost worked, as it was caught by Sessoms, but he was out of bounds. Down by 8, kids, you always go for 2. Vanderbilt has it back on 3rd down. We're able to get the stop. They are in field goal range. It's a long kick from 48 yards out, but as I mentioned, they've got a great kicker as he splits the uprights, and it's 20-9. So we're going to get it back on offense late. Minute 17 to go, 3rd and 2. Minikuchi's pass is caught. Sean Wilson inside the 10. We've got to keep moving quick. Time is of the essence. Handoff. Byron Ellison Jr., touchdown Delaware. And we've got the lead within 5 points. A 2-point conversion would bring us within 3. Hold on a second. We might be in business here. Here's the 2-point try for the Blue Hens. Minikuchi scrambles around under pressure, incomplete. So we go 0 for 2 on 2s, and now we've got to get the onside kick, which is swiftly recovered by Vanderbilt. A good comeback effort. The offense played really well in the 4th, but you can't really score 3 points in the first 3 quarters and expect to win. Vanderbilt gets the job done. They take it 20-15. You know what? This game was a lot closer than I expected. The defense played pretty well. We outgained them, believe it or not, by 70 yards. That's a surprise. But Jared Curtis had a couple big plays as a passer and as a runner, although it never felt like Vanderbilt was in that much of a rhythm offensively. Minicucci, 22 of 38, 222. Another not-so-good game. He hasn't really impressed me in each of the two losses. The run game was definitely pretty blah, but a couple of receivers played really well. How about Bryson Graves? 8 catches for $125. Yes, sir! Sean Wilson had 7 for 57 and a score. Definitely his best game yet. The offensive line unsurprisingly struggled. I mean, we played against an SEC defensive line. That was to be expected. We didn't take any sacks, but Minicucci had to throw out of a lot of sacks. The defense, though, was honestly pretty good. I thought the defense was going to be the weak link of the team, but through 3 weeks, I think our defense has been better than the offense. Shout out to the youngster Noah Jefferson. He's got 2 interceptions in 3 games. So unfortunately, we drop our 3rd game of the year to Vanderbilt, but we showed a lot of promise. We only lost by 5 on the road. We covered the spread. Good teams win, great teams cover. So as we go into our 4th game against Coastal Carolina, we got some news about Prince Queen. He has verbally committed to the University of Cincinnati. Now, that doesn't mean his commitment is over, and I think especially because we have him on the visit this week, maybe, just maybe, we can sway him into decommitting and try to get him to come here. Obviously, it's not a good sign that A, he's committed to a program other than ours, and B, we're not even in 2nd place. But the bar looks like it's open. If we play really well as a team this week, you never know. Maybe we can make this happen. So we return home week 4 against Coastal Carolina of the Sun Belt. Now, unfortunately, in week 3, one of our key defensive players suffered a season-ending injury. Linebacker Blake Matthews tore his rotator cuff. He's a senior, so this could be the end of his career, which would be unfortunate. He was one of the guys with the safety in week 2 against FCS East. Now, he is a true senior, not a redshirt senior, so I'm hoping he'll get a medical redshirt, but I can't give him one because he's the only Sam linebacker on the entire roster. So hopefully the game is smart enough to give him the medical redshirt because I would love to have him back next year because he is a good player. So let's look at Coastal Carolina going into week 4. They're a 66 overall, so they're a little bit worse than us. Their highest rated players are only 80 overalls, with DJ Wesselak, the senior edge rusher, and Robbie Washington at receiver. He's a redshirt junior. Now, they've got some good young players down the board, including a true sophomore at running back in Dominic Nicely, and their quarterback is a younger guy as well. Redshirt sophomore Roquan Barber is 84 speed at 6'1", 205. I remember Barber in College Football 25 in our road to glory with wide receiver Arturo Modello. Our first 2 seasons were at Coastal Carolina, and this guy was the quarterback. He was not good. I remember him being an absolute terrorist. So hopefully that ends up being the case again, and we can get the win and push ourselves back to 500. It's our first home game against an actual opponent, so I'm really curious to see what to expect, because on one hand, I feel like we should win this game. We're higher rated than these guys. We're playing in our own building. We've got a really talented 3-star quarterback visiting, and we've got to find a way to convince him to come here because he's verbally committed to another program. 3rd down and 9. Barber lobs it up, and it is caught. Clayton Kopic with a gain of 41 yards, and Coastal Carolina gets it inside the 10. Nearing the end zone, 3rd down and goal. Barber looks to throw it. Intercepted! It's Noah Jefferson again! I knew this guy wasn't very good at throwing the ball. Jefferson now has 3 interceptions already this year. Delaware on offense. Minicucci dishes it, and that goes for a 1st down to Elijah Sessoms. How did that work? 30 seconds left in the quarter. Sean Wilson breaks the corner's ankles, and he gets it inside the 10. All of a sudden, we've quickly got the momentum after allowing that big 44-yard throw. One of the last plays of the first quarter, it ends up being a touchdown. The 3rd-string running back, Kadarius Roberts, and Delaware makes it 7-0. The Chanticleers have it back, 3rd down and medium. Barber looks to throw it. Clean pocket, has all day. Now under pressure, and he has to throw away from the sack. It's incomplete. Nobody could get open, and he had a lot of time to throw it. Minicucci into traffic, intercepted. That was a horrible read with plenty of space. It's the big fella, Trey Brown, touchdown! A pick 6 for Coastal Carolina, and this game is tied up. 230 pounds, running like a running back. Minicucci has thrown 2 interceptions this year. They've both gone for touchdowns, as he airmails Graves on third down. And I'm a little bit worried this could be like the Western Kentucky game where the pick six gives them a ton of momentum. Look at this play. Dominic nicely, very nicely done inside the 35. A huge run for Coastal Carolina. They get 57 yards. Looking to potentially take the lead. Nicely again. Past the 10. Into the end zone. Strolling in for a touchdown. Nicely done, Mr. Nicely. Coastal Carolina leads 14-7. Around 3 minutes left in the half. Minikuchi goes short for Ellison. Jukes out the first defender. Jukes out another one. And Byron Ellison Jr.'s got it past the 45. A really nice play for Delaware. 2nd and 11. Minikuchi up the middle. That one is caught. DeJuan Lofton. He's been quiet since the opening game. And now nearing the end zone, Byron Ellison finishes off the drive with a touchdown. And Delaware ties the game at 14. That was a much-needed rebound drive. We needed to get back rolling. But now Coastal Carolina has another chance to take the lead. That one is caught at about the 10-yard line. Robbie Washington hauls it in. He's been quiet today. Jamarion Calabote has certainly kept him in check. But look at the clock. There's 10 seconds, and they have no timeouts. Barber looks to run, and he's tackled. He does get the first, but eventually this clock is going to come back on. 4, 3, I don't think they're going to get it off. 2, 1. They don't get it off. Coastal Carolina completely fumbles the clock to end the first half. We are lucky to be going into halftime with this game tied because they've had 2 red zone trips where they didn't score. The first drive, Noah Jefferson had the interception, and that drive they completely whiffed on the clock. Here's Kadarius Roberts up the middle with a huge run. Silver got a little dinged up in the first quarter, and I think Ellison's shaken up as well, so we're going to see a lot of Kadarius Roberts the rest of the way today, as Elijah Sessoms has got it to about the 10. And this Delaware offense looks like a well-oiled machine early in the third. On first down, Minikuchi looks to throw it, looking for the end zone. It is caught! Sean Wilson high points the football. His second consecutive week with a touchdown. And Delaware is back ahead, 21-14. Coastal's got it back late in the third. It's an RPO. That one is caught. Plenty of room, and the Chanticleers are going to enter the fourth quarter in the red zone where they've struggled today. Here is Barber, keeps it himself. Another first down, and the Chants are getting closer and closer. Can we hold them out once more, or will they tie it up? First and goal, play action, Barber, end zone, touchdown! We're knotted up at 21. Tristan Gardner with the score. The offense would move slow and steady down the field, and we would answer right back with a score of our own. It's Greg Spiller, the sophomore running back, a guy who's getting redshirted this year. But with Silver and Ellison, our top 2 backs, hurt, Spiller is going to get some extra run today, and he certainly made advantage of it there. Here's Dominic nicely at the 2-minute timeout with a huge play for Coastal. 15 carries, 164 yards. Third down and 6 now. Barber, he is sacked! Wow, what a play by the Delaware defense. It's Gavin Moll, his second of the game, and they have to go for it. Fourth down and long, 45 seconds. Barber, his pass is incomplete. Delaware gets the stop, and that'll propel us to the win. 28-21. The Blue Hens improved to 2-2 with a really close and fun win. I think it was really our 3 stops in the red zone that got us this W. The first drive of the game, the last drive of the first half, and the last drive of the fourth quarter. 3 red zone trips, 0 points for Coastal Carolina. You could argue they were better than us on a play-by-play basis. They averaged more yards per pass. They certainly averaged more yards per run. Minikuchi had the really bad pick 6. Otherwise, he was fine, but it's definitely taken him some time really to get his footing. And we're now a third of the way into the year, so it's not exactly the early part of the season anymore. On the ground, everybody ate in this game with Ellison and Silver both dinged up. They'll be fine next week, but Spiller had a couple of big runs, including the game winner, and Kadarius Roberts was pretty good too. Through the air, Sean Wilson, 5 catches, 54 yards, another touchdown. He is starting to settle in nicely, while Sessoms and Graves continue to be 2 of our top targets, although Graves was certainly a little quieter today than he was last week. I think defensively we had our worst game of the year. We allowed the most amount of points, but we got a lot of timely stops. So even though this was our worst game in terms of a snap-by-snap basis, we made plays on this side of the ball in the red zone when we needed to. We get the win 28-21, and I'm hoping, maybe just maybe, this will be enough to change Prince Queen's mind and have him flip his commitment, or at least decommit from Cincinnati and keep an open mind. I'm even going to up our NIL offer just to see what happens. The good news is if he doesn't end up committing here, we get those NIL points back. It's not like we're just handing him money to keep and we never see the light of day. So I'm going to try about 105. That's over half of our recruiting budget, but I'm curious to see what happens. And he has hard committed to Cincinnati. So the Prince Queen dream is over, but the good news is we're going to get those NIL points back. I'm now going to look at 3 stars who have not gotten offers from other schools. We do not have enough in the budget to offer these guys scholarships, but the thought process is that they don't get any scholarships the whole year. If we get these guys to commit before any other school shows interest, then we could be landing a gem. Now, again, I don't expect to land any of these guys, but who knows? Maybe we get lucky with a guy like quarterback Max Kavka, who is ranked a lot higher than Prince Queen, and the first quarterback we went after, the slow guy with like 67 speed. We've got a ranked opponent this week, number 24, the University of Virginia. The Hoos are 3-0 with wins against NC State, FCS East, and West Virginia. These guys are honestly a little bit better than Vanderbilt. Their rating is a little bit higher, and they have a win against a mutual opponent in NC State, who Vanderbilt just lost to this past week. So going into the year, I thought Vandy would be our hardest game, but I think it's actually going to be this one against UVA. They've got more star power, a lot more star power, in my opinion, than Vandy does. They have a 90 overall guard, but he's not going to play, so we get lucky there. They've got a really good defense, and running back Peyton Lewis, the transfer from Tennessee, is a very good player, 93 speed, 85 overall. Eli Holstein is the starting quarterback, started his career at Alabama, spent some time at Pitt. He won the starting job over the well-traveled veteran Bo Pupula, and he's been really good this year. He's completed 76% of his throws, 7 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So let's see how we fare on the road against a ranked opponent. I'm a little nervous, but we only lost by 5 against a Vanderbilt team that rating-wise is pretty even with these guys. On this channel, we kind of have Virginia's number. Last year in the Virginia Tech Dynasty, we obviously played against Virginia, the Commonwealth Clash, our number 1 rival. We played against them all 4 seasons of this series. I think the average margin of victory was probably about 50. Every single game was a blowout, so I'm used to killing these guys. Today might be a little different. Jonathan Allen, shouldn't you be in the NFL? He gets the tackle for loss. A big, big play for UVA, who gets it back on offense. Holstein short throw. That one is caught. That's Jaquan Gibson, one of their top receivers inside the 10. A big play for UVA. He gets about 24 yards. And now 1st and goal. Virginia looking to strike first. Play action. Holstein hit as he throws into the end zone for a touchdown. Rico Flores Jr. with the score. And Virginia makes it 7-0. So not a very good start for the Blue Hens. Minicucci runs on 3rd and 3, and he's got room. Past the 40, 35-30, 25-20. Minicucci out of bounds. A huge run for the junior quarterback. He gets 36. To start the second now, Byron Ellison. He seems to live in the end zone. I think he's gotten way more touchdowns than the other running back, Jonathan Silver, who I would say has averaged more touches per game. So we're tied at the 2-minute timeout in the first half, as Holstein connects down the field with his tight end, Dakota Twitty, who is out of bounds near the 50. That is a fun name. Here is Peyton Lewis, gets a block. Lewis past the 35, fighting for yardage. He's wrapped up by the freshman, Calabote. Now a 1st down. Down the field. Holstein, it's caught. Twitty breaks a tackle into the end zone. Dakota Twitty mosses the defender and finishes off the play with a 34-yard touchdown. 14-7, 3rd down and about 4. Minicucci under pressure, hit as he throws, and that could have been intercepted. Trying to do something out of nothing, but that could have been a lot worse. We're only down by 7 going into the break. I will say I think we've played worse than the scores suggest. I think Virginia's definitely been the better team. But we're in the game. We're only down by 1 score. UVA starts with it early in the 3rd, however. 3rd down and 3. Holstein. It's caught! With plenty more room to go, it's Jaquan Gibson. Gets by Ali, inside the 10, past the 5. Calabote catches up, but not before gaining 71. I thought that was going to be intercepted. Instead, they score a touchdown just moments later. Jakail Middlebrook, the backup running back, who's also an 85 overall. They have a great running back duo. Makes it 21-7. Minikucci tries to flush away from the pocket, on the run, misfires. That was a good effort, though, but our offense, again, just isn't giving us enough. 3rd and 6. Holstein tipped and nearly intercepted. Khalil Ali's got to come down with that. We've got it late in the 3rd. We're moving it pretty well. Minikucci, that one is dropped, broken away. I feel like we've got to go for it. Down by 14. I know we're still in the 3rd, but what do we have to lose? Well, apparently the drive, as it's incomplete, and Virginia now is in position to try to chew some clock and really seal the deal, put themselves up by 3 scores. But the pass is off for Peyton Lewis, and they're going to kick. This is a long field goal try for the kicker, Will Bettridge, and it is no good. It had the distance, but it's wide to the left. Delaware can make it a 1-score game again. 3rd down and 1. Short throw is caught. DeJuan Lofton gets a block from Wilson inside the 5. Just shy of the end zone to about the 1, maybe the 2. We've got it certainly in room to make it a 1-score game, and we do. Jonathan Silver with the touchdown. That'll make it 21-13. But again, you guys know the drill. Down by 8. Go for 2. Minikucci. It's caught! Right into traffic. A perfect throw and a great catch by Brandon Raymond. So it's 21-15. We're only down by 6. Let's get it back. Oh, gotta bring him down. What a block as well. 1st and more. Still up. And a huge play for Rico Flores Jr. He gets 24. 2nd and 12. Wide open. Another big 1st down. This time to Sean Martin. Was he out of bounds? I think he was, so at least we got something there. 2nd and inches. Middlebrooks 1st down, and they are firmly in field goal range. If we had just finished off some of these tackles early on this drive, we could have gotten the ball back down by only 1 score. But Peyton Lewis, sure enough, walks it into the end zone. And at the 2-minute timeout, Virginia leads by multiple possessions. Under a minute to go, 4th down and 6. Minikucci's pass is broken away for Wilson, and that'll do it. Virginia holds on to win 28-15, and the Hoos remain undefeated as they're now 4-0. Eli Holstein only completed 55% of his throws. However, he did average 17.5 yards per completion. He really looked to air it out through the course of this game, which is a very different strategy than a lot of the quarterbacks we've played against have taken up to this point. But I would say it worked. I think this is now our worst game defensively. The defense looked great the first 3 weeks of the year, but over the last couple of weeks, especially today, we really did not play very well. Minikucci was bleh. The run game was bleh. Although Minikucci was probably our best runner. Through the air, Sean Wilson, 7 for 51. Graves, 5 for 47. We just couldn't really air it out down the field. We did not have enough time to throw the ball. Minikucci does a good job of not taking sacks, but he has to throw out of a lot of the sacks because he's under pressure. We only had 2 TFLs. We didn't force any turnovers. No big plays. No sacks. The tackling was poor. The run defense was poor. Just not a very good game defensively, in my opinion. We stayed competitive, though, for a while, up until the final couple minutes. So I guess it could have gone worse, but I would say our worst game of the year. So now conference play is full on. Every game the rest of the year in the regular season is against the Conference USA opponent, and the game I want to win the most is probably this one. It's against our rivals, Liberty. So we're already 0-1. We're behind the 8 ball, thanks to our loss against Western Kentucky, and Liberty is regularly one of the top teams in this conference. They're only a 1-star prestige, but they're a 74 overall, which is quite a bit higher than we are. They don't have a ton of star power, but they have a lot of depth. Kanye Udo, well-traveled running back, really good at Army, played at Arizona State last year. Mekhi Jackson leads the receiving room with Jabari Person. Jalen Coleman is a monster running back as a freshman. And Jalen Henderson, the lefty senior quarterback, he can really run. 6'3", 227. He's built like an ox with 85 speed. These guys can really run the ball. That is the name of the game for Liberty. And I don't think it creates a very good matchup with us because our run defense has been rather subpar through the course of the year. What's fun about this rivalry is it's brand new. These two teams had never played against each other in their team's histories until last year. Delaware is 0-1 all-time in this rivalry, and we're not off to a good start in this game as Liberty runs down the field. Kanye Udo with the score, and the Flames lead 7-0. But the offense is looking pretty good on this first drive. Minikucci scrambles, looking down the field. It is caught! DeJuan Lofton, touchdown! And Delaware ties it at 7. The mascot, UD, that is his name, loves what he sees. And so we're knotted up. Liberty has it back. It's a read option. Jalen Henderson has room to run. The first play at the drive is the only play at the drive. You've got to be kidding me. A long touchdown run for Liberty Bibberty. And the Flames are right back ahead, 14-7. Now into the second quarter. Third down and long. Minikuchi overthrows his target. And that leads to the first punt on either side today. Liberty looks to add to the lead, but Henderson is thrown to the turf for a loss of about 3 or 4. Noah Matthews makes the play, and our offense would respond. Marching down the field, Jonathan Silver ties it at 14 with a touchdown. It looks like this could end up being a pretty high-scoring game. These two offenses both look really, really good. Minute 15 to go in the half. Udo on third down, breaking tackles. Doesn't get enough. We're going to call a timeout. Try to get something going on offense late, maybe take the lead. Minikuchi scrambles to the left side with about 20 seconds, hoping for a huge play down the field. Lofton makes the catch! What a play! Minikuchi to Lofton for 43 yards. We use a timeout. We've got it near the 10. Looking to punch it in and take the lead. Minikuchi is sacked. And we're going to have to use our final timeout. It is a third down and long. We got to get rid of the ball quickly to where even if we don't score a touchdown, we can at least take a field goal. Third down, we're just going to throw it up for the end zone. Lofton, he's got it! Touchdown, Delaware! 4 catches for about 105 yards and 2 touchdowns for DeJuan Lofton in this first half. He's made some of the biggest plays of our season in this game so far. 2 huge touchdowns, along with the scramble drill play early on this drive that got us over 40 yards. 21-14, the Blue Hens lead going into the break. Where has this offense been through the course of the year? Against other FBS opponents, we've only scored this many points once. That was the Coastal Carolina game, and we start with the ball in the third. Minikuchi on the run. Wide open is Wilson. He was not the initial read, but sure. That works with me. Gain of about 25. The passing game has never felt this comfortable all year. We look great, and the run game has been really doing a good job of finishing these drives. Jonathan Silver back in the end zone, his second touchdown of the game, and the Blue Hens lead by 14. 28-14 against our rivals. Henderson on the read option. Gets a block. Another big run. Looking to outrun Khalil Ali. He cannot, but he gets it to the 25. 8 carries for 167 yards. That is a lot. Play action. Henderson goes right back to his legs. Inside the 10. The 5. Flips over KT Say. And Jalen Henderson is unstoppable. He has like 200 rushing yards almost. 28-21, 3rd and 10. Sean Wilson makes the catch, but does not get the first down, and he got injured. Looked like he threw his back out. How old are you, 40? Henderson on third down, lobs it up. We haven't really seen him make a ton of plays as a passer, but how about that one? 38 yards for Jamari Person. I think he might have had maybe 15 passing yards before that play, but it's his legs that have done all the dirty work. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the game. He strikes the Heisman pose, and you know what? He's earned every right to do that, the way he has ran all over us. 28-28, 3rd and 4. Minikuchi, some miscommunication with the receiver who was open. Liberty has all the momentum right now. They are in control of this game. Kanye Udo on 2nd and inches with a big run. He tumbles near the 20. We were up by 14 points just a couple of minutes ago. And now here comes Liberty. It's the other running back, Coleman, touchdown. Jalen Coleman, the redshirt freshman, makes it 35-28. This game has sided towards Liberty very quickly, and now we've got to get some momentum back on offense. 2nd down, Minikuchi nowhere to go. He is sacked. A big play for Liberty, making it 3rd and 15. Minikuchi looks to throw it. Has time. Looks to run with it up the middle. And that's a pretty good game. He rolls all the way forward to a 4th and inches. We might have had to go for it regardless, but 4th and inches is a lot more doable than 4th and 15. And look at all that room for Jonathan Silver. That is well more than enough for the first down. We're not really playing against the clock anymore. If anything, we're trying to hold the clock off, and we don't want Liberty to have too much time to move it down the field, but we're short on 3rd and inches, and we've got to convert here on 4th down again. We got one earlier on the drive, as it's Jonathan Silver once more with the first down, bringing the Blue Hens in the red zone. I don't want to completely chew clock yet, but we're not in any hurry. Put it that way. Play action. Mini Coochie hit as he throws. Elijah Sessoms goes down inbounds. Now we're letting this clock run. There's 14 seconds. Silver doesn't get it. We are going to use a timeout. We've got 2 plays to punch this in. 3rd down and goal with 12 seconds at the 3. Trailing by 7. Mini Coochie, end zone, touchdown! Bryson Graves absorbs the hit, and this game is tied up. We're going into overtime. Free football here in Newark, Delaware. 35-35 in a game that's featured so much offense. This has been certainly our most exciting game of the year. I'm excited that we get more. Liberty wins the coin toss, so they're going to start on defense, which means our offense is going to come right back on the field, and we're going to try to score again. We were able to get a game-tying touchdown, now maybe a go-ahead touchdown. Byron Ellison Jr. in for a score. The offense does their job, now the defense has to do the same. 2nd down and 10, Liberty starting at the 25. Henderson scrambles, looks to run. His pass is caught inside the 5. A gain of about 20 to Rashawn Cunningham. Just the 3rd pass of at least 10 yards today. 2nd and goal. Henderson looks to scramble because of course he does. Is he in? Yes, he is. Jalen Henderson, 4 rushing touchdowns. And now we're knotted up at 42. On to double overtime. If you score a touchdown, you got to go for 2. 3rd and inches. Kanye Udo doesn't get it. The defense gets the stop. And they're going to kick. Are you kidding me? That is a weak play call in a rivalry game in double overtime when their rushing attack has been unstoppable. I don't believe that call. They are giving our offense a chance to win the game. Let's capitalize. 42-42. 3rd down and 9. We got to convert here, otherwise we might have to kick a field goal of our own. Short throw is caught. Silver to the outside. That's just enough yardage to contemplate going for it. If I'm going to criticize them for not going for it on 4th down and short, I've got to put my money where my mouth is. Silver, up the middle, not even close! Liberty gets the stop, and the Flames win the rivalry in double overtime. 45-42. Liberty's decision to kick the field goal, in hindsight, won them the game. Jalen Henderson, the quarterback, only completed about half of his throws. He only threw for 79 yards, and he was still very clearly the best player on the field. 13 carries, 212 yards, and 4 touchdowns. As a team, they ran for 360. That is ridiculous. Our run defense never stood a chance. That's not to mention Kanye Udo had nearly 100 yards, and Coleman had a touchdown of his own to put them ahead in the 4th quarter. The run defense was soft, squishy, and pathetic in this game. Meanwhile, on our side, Nick Minicucci had by far his best game of the year. 4 touchdowns, 232 yards. This is the guy I was hoping to see through the course of the year. It's a shame we couldn't get the win. Jonathan Silver was good. Byron Ellison was good. Through the air, Sean Wilson had 6 catches for 52. DeJuan Lofton had a huge first half. We couldn't get him the ball in the second half, though, as much as we tried. Graves with a score. Ellison with a score through the air. The offensive line was terrific, but the defense, the run defense that is, was horrible. We could not stop Henderson. We could not stop Udo. Those 2 players were single-handedly the reasons why we lost this game. We are now 2-4 overall, and our record in conference is 0-2. That's not good. We are at the bottom of Conference USA. On to the second half of the year. Missouri State is in a very similar spot as us. They are also 2-4, 1-1 in conference. We don't have any commitments yet, but we're doing reasonably well with some of these 3-star players who were not offered scholarships earlier. I kind of see these top guys as the potential core of this recruiting class. If we're able to get like 3 or 4 of these 3-stars, that'd be great. Sione Taliaferro is a 2-star, but I kind of view him as a 3-star. I think he's as good as these guys, and he does have interest from some of the other schools. But otherwise, I'm going to offer these guys some points, but not scholarships, because I don't want to give them false NIL demands. So let's look at this Missouri State game. This is a big matchup for us. We are in dead last in the conference. We are the only team who is 0-2 or worse. So I guess there's nowhere else to go but up. Missouri State is a 66 overall. They entered the FBS last year just like us. Their first season has not gone as well. Their second season's been a little bit more even. Jamari Robinson leads the way at receiver. He's the only player who's at least an 81 overall. Breezy Dubar and Ramon Green Jr. lead a pretty good running back tandem. I think the Missouri State roster is constructed fairly similar to ours in the sense that they're really talented in terms of the skill position players, while redshirt senior Skylar Locklear is the guy getting him the ball. He's only completed half of his throws, but he does have 11 passing touchdowns and nearly 2,000 yards through the air. He averages over 300 a game. So this is very much a pass-first offense who is able to get all of these guys plenty of touches with the football. Really big game for both of these teams today. If we want to get into a bowl, we have to win, I feel like. I don't think competing for the Conference USA is very realistic anymore. We've just got to shoot for a bowl game, and we really do not have that much margin for error. We've got to go 4-2 or better the rest of the year. That one is picked off. KT Say, the junior safety, down the field. Tries to juke away from the running back, and he's got it near the 15-yard line. We've been waiting for the big play out of KT Say, his first interception of the season, and our offense is going to get great field position in the red zone. It's Silver. He hurdles his own teammate, and Jonathan Silver is in for a touchdown. A picture-perfect start for the Blue Hens. We force the turnover on defense. We get the touchdown on offense. UD loves what he sees as it's 7-0. 3rd down and 4 for the Bears. Locklear looks to throw it, dances around under pressure. That one is caught. Really nice throw, really nice catch, really nice play after the catch. It's Isaiah Myers, the redshirt senior, who gets 22. 3rd down and 10, looking for the end zone. Touchdown! Hauled in by Jamarie Robinson. The senior high points the football, and Missouri State ties it at 7. Into the second quarter, 3rd down, Minicucci flushes to the right where there's plenty of room. Looks to run with it. Probably could have cut outside. He fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by the defense. A costly turnover by Nick Minicucci as it's forced away by Stratton Shuffelt and recovered by Joel Boama. Here's Missouri State. What a throw! Locklear with an absolute dart into the hands of the tight end, Jaron Askren, who gets 34 yards. And then with a minute and a half left in the first half, the defense does get the stop. 4th down and goal at about the 5-yard line. What do you do if you're Missouri State? I think they have the momentum right now. The quarterback, Locklear, can really throw the ball. But they're going to settle for the field goal. The kick is good, and it's 10-7. Missouri State takes their first lead of the game. Delaware's got it back late here on 3rd down. Minicucci tries to throw out at the sack, which he does, but it's incomplete. And the Bears are going to get it late in the first half. With 48 seconds left, it is a 2nd down and about 2. Looking to throw it is Locklear. Down the field, picked again! KT Say is 2nd of the game, and look at all that room. Past the 30, 25-20, past the 15, near the 10. We're going to get great field position again. 2 interceptions in the first half for KT Say, and he's got 81 interception return yards to go along with it. 30 seconds left. Minicucci on the run. Tries to lower the shoulder. He's in for the touchdown. And Delaware takes the lead with 30 seconds left in the half. The interception and quick score puts us up 14-10. 19 seconds left. Missouri State's got enough time to score. That one is caught. Inbounds, though, and the Bears are going to have to use their 3rd and final timeout. So they're not exactly in a good spot in terms of the clock, and they're certainly not yet in field goal range, only sitting past the 45 at around the 44. 2nd down and about 2. Locklear looks to throw it. Goes short. It is caught. Out of bounds. It'll get him a couple yards, but really not that many. And they're going to kick it. Youssef Obiade, a 79 overall junior kicker. From about 58 yards out, it is up, and he drills it. Fairs. 14-13 going into the break. Delaware leads by a point. We really should not be up. We have clearly been the worst team in this game. But the 2 interceptions and the 2 big returns by KT Say have given us opportunities to score, and thus have us ahead. Although Minicucci gets sacked, Dylan Brooks. If you were here in College Football 25, you should remember that name. He was on our team in the Kansas Dynasty and was actually pretty good. Missouri State gets it back, marches down the field, and he ends up with a touchdown. It's the tight end with the score, Jaron Askren, and now they're going to go for 2. Locklear dives in, Superman style on the read option. 21-14, Bears up by 7. Here is Ellison with it, breaks a tackle, a nice run for the sophomore running back. Byron Ellison Jr. gets it past the 50. We need to have that one long, drawn-out drive because we haven't had that today. Minikucci for Wilson, broken away late. Right in his hands, but it's incomplete. We're going to go for it. 4th down and about 5. Minikucci, it is caught. Not enough for the first down. Graves is about a foot shy. Missouri State has it back. 2nd and 10. Here's Locklear on the run. Down the field. It's caught. Big hit, but a big play. It's Ramon Green Jr., the running back. Late in the 3rd, Askren with space. Touchdown. Missouri State leads by 2 scores. They're on an 18-0 run over the last 8 minutes as we move into the 4th, trailing by 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Silver with a nice run. Tries to spin his way out of traffic to about the 30. He got the worst of that hit, however. We've got to score, and we've got to do it relatively quick. I don't want our offense to have too much pressure down late. Wilson breaks the tackle. Sayonara. Touchdown. And Delaware's got it within 1 score. 28-20. The lead again sits at 8, and we again are going to go for 2. Try to make it a 6-point deficit with 7:47 to go. Minikucci hands it off. Vyron Ellison Jr. is in, and the lead is within 6. Still some work to do, but it's something. We finally got that long, big drive, resulting in 8 points. And now Missouri State is already in true clock mode. 3rd down and 6. Play action to the right side. Locklear, it's caught! He put a little too much on that pass, but Makai Cope does a great job of reaching up for the ball. 3rd down, though, we get a huge sack. The defense comes up big. They haven't been great today, but they get a stop when they need to. The problem is we're starting at the 1. So if we want a touchdown, we've got to go the entire length of the field, 99 yards. This is a good start. Vyron Ellison with a huge run certainly gets us out of safety territory as it's a gain of about 27. 3rd down and 2 now from the 35-yard line. Ellison up the middle, short. 4th and inches. We're going to go for it. We've got to take the risk. Jonathan Silver, 1st down. A little bit past the 40. A big conversion for the Hens as it's now 2nd down and about 7. Minikucci looks to throw it under pressure. Got to avoid the sack. He does. It's caught. Graves is close. And we're going to keep on moving it. 3rd down and 10, past the 40. Minikucci under pressure, nearly intercepted. It's broken away. 4th down, just over a minute. We've got to go for it. Minikucci looks to throw it. Caught. Can we break the tackle? Graves does not. And Missouri State is a 1st down away from potentially ending the game. 2nd and 8, fumble! But it's quickly recovered by Missouri State. Wow, that was our chance. Our big break, but we're unable to hop on it. The strip sack by Trey Scott. 3rd down and long. Play action, quick throw is incomplete. So we get to keep a timeout out of it. 36 seconds. Here is Minikucci on the run. It's caught. It's Graves to about the 40. We've got to move quick. We don't have a lot of time and only the 1 timeout. 17 seconds now. Minikucci lobs it up down the field. It's caught! Touchdown! DeJuan Lofton! And Delaware's an extra point away from taking the lead. Are you kidding me? What a comeback by the Blue Hens. We thought we were down and out of this game, but an unbelievable throw on the run from Minikucci to Lofton will put us up by a point following the made kick. Now, Missouri State still has 2 timeouts at about 10 seconds. Locklear looking down the field. Boink, boink, incomplete. Oh my goodness, I thought they were going to catch that. The way my heart sunk out of my chest. Final play of the game, they've got to lob it up. It is tipped and incomplete. And Delaware wins a thriller. What a comeback. 29-28, the Blue Hens with a wild win over Missouri State. This, my friends, is exactly why you go for 2, down by 8. For reasons like this, because otherwise the game would be tied and we'd be going into overtime. Not Mick Minikucci's best game, but you know what? When the lights got bright, when we had to put our chips in, he was money down the stretch with an unbelievable back foot throw to give us the game-winning touchdown. 2 scores, no interceptions. He's only thrown 2 interceptions the whole year. Interestingly, they both were pick sixes. I still wish we were a little bit more efficient through the air. On the ground, Silver was good. Ellison was really good. Vyron Ellison was one of the best players on the field in this game. Through the air, Bryson Graves, 7 catches. Sean Wilson only had 2, but he had a score. And, of course, DeJuan Lofton with the huge 38-yarder to call game. Defensively, we were a little bit iffy, but when we needed to get stops, we did. Got to shout out KT Tay with the 2 interceptions, which both directly resulted in touchdowns. If not for even just one of those plays, we would have probably lost the game. So shout out the superstar safety. We waited for him to get those big turnovers, and he chose 2 really good times to finally grab his first 2 of the year. We're going to simulate now into our 8th game of the year. Sione Taliaferro, we talked about him earlier. He's a guy who we're directly competing with UL Monroe. The good news is, it's Louisiana Monroe. Their program is worse than ours. If there's anybody we can overpower in a recruiting battle, it's them. And you can see it there with the point distribution. If we keep giving him a lot of points, I think we can get him. I think he's going to visit in a couple of weeks when we play Middle Tennessee State. KT Say, Conference USA Player of the Week. Very well deserved. Those 2 interceptions, we could not have won without him. And here he is, front and center for Week 7, our 8th game of the year. No bye weeks yet. That's pretty unlucky. We've got New Mexico State. The Aggies are up next. So we've climbed up to 7th in conference at 1-2. New Mexico State is 5th. They're 1-1. So this is another very important game for us. The margin for error is still low. There is 67 overall. They only have one player above an 80 overall in TK King, their top receiver. They've got a number of good receivers on this team. 4 of their 6 best players are at wide receiver. Rob Webster, the redshirt sophomore, is the quarterback, 73 overall. He's only thrown 1 interception. He keeps the ball out of harm's way, but he's also not a big-time thrower of the football. He hasn't been that impressive otherwise. Really a game manager for New Mexico State, and he's done an adequate job given that the team currently sits at 500. Good to be back at home coming off our crazy win. It's the game where we're going to wear our black jerseys as he lobs it up, and it's picked off. Who else but KT Say? Had 2 gigantic interceptions a week ago. Gets another one here. Webster pretty much just hurls it up, hoping for the best. And Say is able to come down with it. The offense gets good starting field position as it's 3rd down and 6. Minikuchi on the run. That one is dropped. Sean Wilson cannot hold on to it. And we're feeling ourselves after our big win last week. Heat check, going for it. 1st down, Brandon Raymond. That was a very impulsive play call, but it worked. Wide open is Ellison with a juke move past the 20, the 15, the 10. Another juke move near the 5. Vyron Ellison has become a major weapon as a pass catcher, but also obviously as a runner where he averaged nearly 10 yards a carry a week ago. It's another 4th down, 4th and goal. We're going for it again, and this time it does not quite work out as we don't get anything. Nice catch. So New Mexico State gets it back after our aggressive and borderline reckless play calling. Webster's pass tipped in the air and intercepted. It's a big man pick. And we're going to get the ball right back with great field position. The big defensive tackle, Dylan Mann, at 300 pounds, comes down with the interception. He is one large man, pun intended, as Sean Wilson is able to quickly score. And guess what? We get our touchdown after all. It's like we converted on 4th down on the last drive to begin with. And Delaware makes it 7-0 to start the second quarter. 2nd and 7. Webster scrambles to the right side. His pass is intercepted again. Sean Cox Jr. picks it off. Webster has thrown 4 passes today. 3 of them have been intercepted. This secondary looks unreal to start this game. We had, I think, 6 interceptions in our first 7 games of the year. 6, 7. We just added 3 within a matter of a quarter. Looking to add to the lead. Silver just shy on 3rd down. It's 4th and inches. If we're going to go for it on 4th and medium in our own territory, you best believe we're going for a 4th and inches. Are you kidding me? Ellison, 1st down, just shy of the 5-yard line. And now Delaware has a chance to potentially add to the lead. Minikuchi, short throw, is caught for a touchdown. The tight end Elijah Sessoms with the score. He's been a little quieter over the last couple of weeks since his hot start, but the Blue Hens make it 14-0. 2nd down, Webster looking to rebound. There's a big play. That's how you do it. Inside the 20, nearing the 10-yard line. A huge gain for TJ Pride. He gets 31 yards. 3rd down now, Webster under pressure, end zone. Nice catch. That one goes for a touchdown by TK King, the redshirt senior from Houston, Texas. one of the stars of this team, makes it 14-7. 2nd and 10. Final play before the 2-minute mark. Minikuchi unable to escape the pressure. He is sacked. A big play by New Mexico State. They'll get it back, and they're starting to look better after their rough start. They're down and long, though. Webster under pressure, and he gets sacked. So the defense is able to get the stop. Good job there up front by the pass rush. That was Dylan Mann who had the interception earlier. Minute left in the half. Wide open. It's Lofton with a juke move. Another juke move to Juan Lofton. Past the 50 to about the 45. 7 seconds now. We've marched all the way down. We've taken all the time off the clock. As that one is incomplete with 3 seconds. And I'm just going to take the points. I know we've been aggressive on 4th down, but we can't be stupid. We can put ourselves up by 2 scores and guarantee that we go into the half with momentum. If we go for it and don't get it, then we don't have the momentum. So at least we're up by multiple possessions. We're up by double digits, 17-7. The offenses look good. Minikuchi's look good. The defense has 3 interceptions, and we start with the ball in the 3rd. So I think things are going pretty well so far. 3rd and 2. Lofton does not get it. I wonder what we're going to do here. 4th and inches, about the 45-yard line. Minikuchi hands it off. Silver does not get it. Wow. That could be a game-changing stop for Missouri State. 1st down. Here is Webster. Hurls it up, and it's caught! Inside the 20. How did that work? Dijon Stanley for 33. They can make it a 3-point game, and they do. Touchdown for James Jones. This has been such a weird game. I feel like we've been way better than the score suggests, but we're up by 3. 2nd down. Wide open is Sean Wilson. Nobody covering him as he gets it near the 50. The offense would continue to march all the way down the field. 3rd and goal. Minikuchi doesn't get it. 4th and goal. We're going to go for it again. We're going to switch out of the QB sneak into a different play. We were unable to get the 4th and inches on the last drive. 2nd time's the charm, maybe. Silver doesn't get it! Another 4th down stop for New Mexico State. You can't really blame us that time. That was a pretty obvious 4th down call. As we move into the 4th, nothing going on this drive for New Mexico State. KT Say with a big hit on James Jones. We'll get it back on offense. 5:22 to go. Jet sweep. Wilson gets a block, gets another. Past the 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15, out of bounds near the 10. Huge play for Sean Wilson. It's a gain of 49, and Wilson now is over 100 yards for the first time this season. 1st down with 5 minutes left. On the run. Dump off for Silver. Touchdown! Delaware adds to the lead. We needed that drive. We could not let New Mexico State have the chance to take the lead. We're up by 10. Let's see if we can get another stop and try to seal the deal. 3rd down and 10. Looking to throw it as Webster under a ton of pressure, and he gets sacked. Couple of guys there in the backfield, including Noah Jefferson. They've got to go for it on 4th and 20. Webster has time. Surveys the field on the run. It is incomplete. So the Blue Hens get the stop. We'll look to chew some clock, maybe add some more points. As on 3rd and 2. Ellison does not get it. 4th down and 2. I am not going to listen to the game, and I'm going to take the points. We have struggled in short yardage spots throughout the course of the game. I would love to be up by 13. Force New Mexico State to score 2 touchdowns because I trust our defense. I don't think they're going to get 2 touchdowns. 4th and 10. Webster with a prayer, and it's intercepted. It's Calabodi who picks it off, and that should just about do it. Rob Webster picked off 4 times today by 4 different players, and the Blue Hens get the win 27-14. Our 2nd straight win. Our record is now 500, and we're 2-2 in conference. Nick Minikuchi with a great game, probably his best of the year. 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, completed 66.7% of his throws. It just felt like at times the offense was a lot more comfortable than they've been throughout the course of the year, which was really encouraging to see, and hopefully that continues over our final 4 games of the season. We dominated this game. We outgained them 424-178. If not for some 4th down stops, we would have won this game by a lot more than 13. 2 for 5 on 4th, and only 2 for 10 on 3rd. We were not good on the money downs, but we were really good otherwise. Minikuchi finishes the game 22 of 33, 319 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Really good showing from him. He's picking it up after a not-so-great start. The run game was solid. Once again, very consistent between Silver and Ellison through the air. The story of this game was certainly Sean Wilson and DeJuan Lofton. Lofton, 8 for 87. Wilson, 6 for 136 and a touchdown. His best game of the year. Sessions with a score, Silver with a score, and then the defense was really solid too. Obviously, we've got to talk about the takeaways. We had 4 of them by 4 different players. We had 3 early in the game. KT Say with another one. Dylan Mann with the big man pick. Jamarian Koligbodi finishing it off. I think this was our most complete win of the year. Offense, defense, special teams, every facet of the game looked really good. So we're able to break back up to even with a record of 500 at 4-4. And with 4 games left, we've got to win at least 2 if we want to make a bowl game. It's our first win streak of the year. I think we're overall progressing in the right direction. We certainly dealt with some bumps and bruises and turbulence early on, but I do think we are playing a little bit better coming off a really, really strong win against the Aggies, where we should have won by more. We're continuing to do, I think, pretty well on the recruiting trail. 3-star receiver LaShawn Thompson we're in first place for. This is one of those 3 stars that has not garnered a lot of interest, and so because of that, I'm hoping to take advantage as we make it into our 9th game of the year against Kennesaw State. We have our first win streak of the entire season, and now we've got 4 games to go, along with a couple of bye weeks sprinkled in there and a lot of opportunities to have recruits coming in for visits. Now, I thought any chance of making the Conference USA title was a goner once we started 0-2 inside of conference play. It's still unlikely, but it is possible. We're currently in 4th place in Conference USA play with a record of 2-2, and the only teams above us are FIU, who we still have to play, Liberty, who does have the tiebreaker over us, and Jacksonville State, who's also still on our schedule. But both FIU and Jacksonville State, we play at home. So that is worth noting over our final 2 games of the year. We'll start with Kennesaw State. They're 3-4 overall, 1-2 in conference, so pretty similar to us. Their overall rating is a little bit worse than ours, though, at only a 66 overall. They've got some good players. Zion Booker and Tristan Morgan lead the skill position room. And then Ricky Collins, the well-traveled junior, is the starting quarterback. 12 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions this year. He hasn't been super efficient in terms of the completion percentage, but he's a dual threat. He's a guy who can make plays out of structure and is one of the more talented quarterbacks in this conference. A guy with multiple years of power conference experience. So I think this could prove to be a tough game against a Kennesaw State program that very quietly seems to be on the rise in recent years. Like us, they're pretty new to the FBS, and they've done a really good job of transitioning to this level rather quickly. So we're going to start this one on offense. We've won 2 in a row. The offense moved the ball really well last week against New Mexico State. Can we keep it going against the Owls? Up the middle, that one is hauled in. Brandon Raymond gets us to about the 20. Few plays later, 2nd and goal, Mini Cucci. That one is hauled in by Sean Wilson, who jukes his way into the end zone for a touchdown. A really nice play by the sophomore, able to make a man miss, and a really good opening drive for the Hens. We march right down the field and lead at 7-0. Following a good kick return, though, Kennesaw State's offense is making quick work of their first drive. Ricky Collins steps up, finds his tight end, Reed Jizolowski, who gets it to about the 5 or 6 yard line. 1st and goal. They're going to go to the running back, Tristan Morgan, in for a touchdown. And Kennesaw State ties it at 7. So both teams march right down the field with a couple of early touchdowns, and our offense is looking pretty good on drive number 2. Mini Cucci hit hard. He connects to Bryson Graves, who's got 60 yards in the opening quarter. And then here we are, 3rd and goal, trying to punch it in. Jonathan Silver is in for his score. And Delaware makes it 14-7. 2 drives, 2 scores. The offense looks good. We're continuing to really get comfortable on this side of the ball, which wasn't really the case for the first quarter of the year. That one is intercepted deep downfield. Collins picked off by guess who? KT Say, the All-American with 4 interceptions over his last 3 weeks. He is on an absolute heater. We were waiting for the big plays. He was due. Well, now it seems like he can't escape the big plays. Nearing the goal line, Elijah Sessoms into the end zone for a touchdown. 3 drives, 3 scores. We take full advantage of the interception, and the Blue Hens lead at 21-7. Kennesaw State back with it, 3rd and 14. Collins under pressure, and he is sacked. The drive comes to a quick close. It's Scott once again making the play. Trey Scott has proven to be our best pass rusher this year, as we've got it back on offense, looking to make it 4 for 4. Minicucci on the run. He connects with Sessoms. Nick Minicucci has not thrown an incompletion in this game. He looks surgical right now. operating like a machine. He's got Sessoms again to the 10, making it look effortless, weaving his way through the pocket, not letting defenders bring him down, and making all of these throws in stride. Scrambling again, back of the end zone, touchdown Delaware. Dwayne Lofton with the score, and it's 28-7. Minicucci has not thrown an incompletion, yet he's got 3 passing touchdowns in this game. 2nd and inches, that one is caught down the field. Finally, some momentum for Kennesaw State. They look promising in the first quarter, and that has quickly vanished here in the second. Big hit on 3rd down. Casey Say jars the ball away, and we'll get it back on offense with a chance to add to the lead even more. That one is caught short. It's Graves, big hit. And it's still a gain of 8, though. I contemplated using a timeout. I decided to there with 14 seconds left. Now, we've got to be careful, though. That was our last timeout. If possible, we got to avoid being tackled in the field of play, particularly shy at the 1st down marker. Minicucci into traffic. It's caught! Sean Wilson, his 5th of the game, gets us inside the 20, but he never got out of bounds. He was tackled quickly. We've got to keep it moving. 9, 8, 7. Minicucci will snap it. No one's open, so he'll fire it away and get rid of it. His first incompletion of the day. He was 19 for 19 before that throw. It sucks we lost the perfect mark, but, I mean, what else were we going to do on that play? Nobody was open. Field goal try is up, and it is good for Eli McGee. 31 points in the first half for Delaware. I don't think we've scored this amount of points against an FBS opponent all year other than the Liberty game, and even that one went into double overtime. We have 31 in just one half. I mean, my goodness. Does Nick Minicucci look unbelievably impressive right now? He's getting all of the receivers involved. Graves, Wilson, Sessoms, Lofton, everybody. Now, Kennesaw State does start with it in the 3rd. Collins hoists it up, and it's broken away. Calabodi got a hand on it, and that'll lead to a Kennesaw State punt as we look to add to the lead even more. 1.5 to go in the 3rd. That one nearly intercepted. He was due for a really, really bad throw. Has not been picked off, by the way, since week 3. It's been a while since Minicucci's last interception. 43-yard field goal for McGee is good, and the Blue Hens add to the lead even more as it's 34-7. Time is winding down for Kennesaw State in an unlikely blowout. Look at this, though. Trick play! I mean, I guess what did they have to lose, right? Other than showing off your fun offensive plays when you're down by 27. They do score late. Latrell Morrell with a rushing touchdown. That'll cut the lead all the way to 20. Put your rally caps on, kids. Maybe Kennesaw State's going to make this game close. They got the ball back shortly thereafter, looking to cut into the lead even more. Collins, though, under pressure, hoists it up for the end zone, and it is tipped, intercepted into the hands of Nasir Eatman, and that should just about do it. I thought our New Mexico State win was our best of the year, but we one-upped ourselves the following week. 34-14, a dominant victory for the Blue Hens. We really could have won this game by more, but we definitely slowed things down offensively in the second half because we were up by so much. Kind of an unlikely blowout. I thought these two teams were reasonably evenly matched. The game was on the road, but we really dominated. We've won 3 in a row and are now only 1 win away from clinching our bowl eligibility. We've really turned this season around after what looked like a pretty shaky start, 2-4, coming off the double overtime loss to Liberty, and since then we've won our last 3. The offense really clicked today, and the defense played pretty good too, only allowing the 14 points. The story, though, was the offensive side of the ball and Nick Minicucci's dominant first half where he went 19 for 20, throwing for over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. He really didn't throw it much in the second half. I think he went 2 for 4 because we were up by so much, and all we had to really do was run the ball and chew the clock. 247 yards, though, for him through the air. Both of the two running backs had at least 50 on the ground, and then very balanced receiving-wise. Wilson at 88 in the score, Graves 73, Sessoms 55. All 3 of those guys had touchdowns. And then the defense was really good, too. We're still able to make some big plays with the takeaways. Trey Scott had 3 sacks. And then KT Say, another interception. He's got 4 over the last 3 games. So that pushes us up to 5-4. As I mentioned earlier, we're just 1 win away from advancing to a bowl game. We have our bye week finally. We have not had a week off the whole year. 9 consecutive weeks of games, but 2 of our next 4 weeks were off. We've got Middle Tennessee State at FIU on the horizon. But with the bye week, I think we can really start to lock into recruiting. We've got a couple of guys ready for visits in LaShawn Thompson and Sione Taliaferro. We could have them come during the bye week, but I'd rather maximize our points in week 11. After simulating the week, center Larry Thacker has joined them and is ready for a visit. I think for now, the only player I'm going to schedule is Taliaferro because it is a very competitive battle with the University of Louisiana Monroe. I'm willing to take my time with the other two guys because they don't really have much other interest. As we take a look at the conference standings, we've moved up into third place. And one of the teams ahead of us we still get to play against, an FIU. So this whole pipe dream of making the conference championship now seems actually kind of feasible. We could maybe make this happen. I think our recruiting vision is really starting to gather, with some of these 3-stars appearing to be very interested in us with Conbo and Forte. We have 4 guys who are available for visits, but we only have 3 open slots for the Week 11 game against FIU. Safety Dalton Elliman looks like the most competitive race, so I definitely want to make it a point to get him in there. And then between the other 3 stars, I think I'm going to lean on the 2 offensive players with Larry Thacker and LaShawn Thompson. Forte, I'm definitely going to prioritize in Week 13 against Jacksonville State. I don't think it really matters given that none of these other 3 guys have interest from other schools. But I do think we're going to start with the 2 offensive players and then Forte a little bit later. We start on the road, though. Week 10, headed to Middle Tennessee to play against the Blue Raiders, who currently sit at 3-5, 1-3 in conference play. Even though we didn't play during the bye week, it ended up actually being a really good week for us because we have climbed into second place in the conference. Now, it is a 5-way tie for second. Liberty and Western Kentucky both have already beaten us. So I don't feel super confident yet, but the fact that we're in second place is pretty exciting. Middle Tennessee State has some good offensive skill position players, guys like Cameron Lacey and Antonio Martin at quarterback. Redshirt sophomore Roman Gagliano leads the way. He's only completed about half of his throws and just 7 touchdowns in 8 games. So really not that great of a season from him. And a team that seems to be pretty beatable. They've honestly been one of the lesser teams in the Conference USA this year. So we'll see if we can make it 4 wins in a row and look to, at the very least, cement our bowl eligibility at 6-4. We're going to start this game on defense. Gagliano on 3rd down and 2 under pressure. Hoisted off his back foot and it's incomplete. Yeah, I don't really know what he was trying to do there. Middle Tennessee is going to go for it on 4th down and they don't get it. Not a chance. Jarius Shaw gets nothing. Nasir Eatman is eating him up in the backfield. And Delaware gets it for their first drive of the game. Here's Minicucci, hit hard. That one is caught. Dwayne Lofton inside the 5 to about the 1. And we're making quick work at these guys as well in the opening couple minutes. Near the goal line, a touchdown for the freshman fullback. It's Maddox Sills in for a score, and Delaware leads 7-0. Middle Tennessee has it back now early in the second quarter. 3rd down and long. Roman Gagliano wide open, completely airmails his target. He had plenty of room. Blue Hens back with it on 3rd down. Minicucci up the middle. It is broken away. Trying to get it to Sean Wilson, who's unable to hold on. The Blue Raiders are moving it pretty nicely, but they've got another 3rd and long. It's 3rd and 12 to be specific, as Gagliano's pass is tipped away, incomplete, and they'll have to settle with a field goal. It's a long one, 45-yarder for Dominic Bourgeois. The kick is up, and it is good, and that'll make it 7-3. So Bourgeois, Roll Hawks, puts Middle Tennessee on the board. The Blue Hens get it back, 2.5 to go. Here is Minicucci up the middle. One-handed! Oh my goodness, Sean Wilson. What a play. He didn't get the first down, though. We're looking to convert on 3rd and inches, and we never stood a chance. Minicucci loses about 5. So the Blue Raiders will get it back. Gagliano on 3rd down. Scrambles around. He looks to run with it, and he doesn't get it. Trey Scott amongst the defenders to bring him down, coming off his 3-sack game a week ago against Kennesaw State. And we get it back with a 1-minute drill on offense. 3rd down, up the middle, dropped. Sean Wilson can't hold on, and this is turning into a defensive battle. Fumble! Blue Raiders cough it up, and the Blue Hens will get it back. It's forced away by Noah Matthews and recovered by Dominic Brogna. So a huge fumble out of the hands of Jarius Shaw. Will look to take advantage with just seconds left in the first half as Jonathan Silver is in for a touchdown, and Delaware makes it 14-3, taking full advantage of the turnover to put ourselves up by 2 scores with just 2 seconds left in the first half. One more play, a 3rd and inches. The Blue Raiders have really struggled on 3rd and inches. Gagliano's pass is caught! Oh my goodness, Marcus Allen! 65-yard touchdown! A successful Hail Mary for Middle Tennessee State. And they put themselves back within 1 score. They did not score a touchdown the entire first half. and they get one on the Hail Mary. I don't even think they had 65 yards in the first half. They more than doubled their yardage outburst on one play. That is unbelievable. So all of a sudden, we've got ourselves a game. 3rd and 2, handoff. Roberts does not get it. It's a loss of a yard or two. Corey Smith brings him down, and the momentum seems to be shifting a little bit off of the Hail Mary. Middle Tennessee starting to feel themselves a little bit. 3rd down and 10. Gagliano up the middle, caught. Nice catch. Not going to be enough, though, for a first down, despite a really nice grab by Hogan Wasson. 3rd down and 3. Minicucci up the middle. That one is broken away. And this continues to be a defensive slugfest. Our offense has been really mediocre, but theirs hasn't been much better. Up the seam. That one is caught! Tipped out of the hands of Khalil Ali into the hands of Hogan Wasson. That is unbelievably unlucky. Now into the 4th. 3rd down and 10. Gagliano looks to throw it. Under pressure. Gagliano's pass is caught again! That's Cameron Lacey for 17. Another 3rd down with 5 minutes to go. Short pass, Lacey going nowhere. Quick work by the defense to bring him down, and they're going to go for it. Down by 4. Field goal does nothing. Gagliano looks to throw it. Scrambles up the middle, looking for the end zone. It's incomplete. He could have ran for the first down. I don't know why he didn't take it with his legs. And now we can look to chew some clock, try to seal the deal. Minicucci gets the first down on 3rd and 1, and the Blue Raiders are going to start using their timeouts. We are in striking distance of sealing the deal. Another first down ends it for good. 3rd down and 2 with about 1:20 left to go. Minicucci calls for motion. It's in the hands of Bryson Graves, who gets a block, dives down. This game is over. No points for either team in the second half. It was 14-10 at the break, and it's 14-10 our final score. Nick Minicucci tackles UD in celebration because Delaware has won 4 in a row and we're going to a bowl game. The offense was very blah. We didn't score in the second half. We really did not move the ball very well. Minicucci, coming off his best game of the year, had less than 100 passing yards today, but the defense was again tremendous. The only touchdown for Middle Tennessee came off of a rogue Hail Mary. Otherwise, they only had 3 points. Despite that, though, we've got to be better on the other side of the ball. We didn't even have 200 total yards of offense. Normally, this will not be enough. Normally, the defense will not play this well. But Gagliano only went 10 of 22, and Minicucci was not much better, only completing half of his throws. 9 of 18 for just 88 yards. That's less than 5 yards per pass. On the ground, though, Jonathan Silver and Byron Ellison ran it well, so at least we were able to establish the run game, even though the passing game was very mediocre. But nonetheless, a good win for Delaware. We're red hot. We've won 4 in a row. The defense has had a bunch of really good games in a row. Ever since the Missouri State win, we've had 3 in a row. Really, really solid performances on that side of the ball. It pushes us up to 6-4. We are now 4-2 in conference. And all of a sudden, making it to the conference title feels kind of feasible. We've got 2 games left, both at home, against FIU and Jacksonville State. FIU's currently in first place in the conference. They only have 1 loss. So this game may very well determine one of the spots inside of the conference title. We've got 4 guys visiting this week and 2 3-stars down to 5. Running back Antoine Tutt and wide receiver Justice Hammer. These are the 2 best players on the entire board. If we're able to get these 2 very highly ranked 3-stars, practically 4-stars, then this would change the program's trajectory on the offensive side of the ball. The problem is we cannot schedule them for visits because they do not have scholarships, because their NIL prices are basically our entire NIL budget. So we are banking on schools not going after these 2. Nobody's really going after Tutt at all, while the receiver Hammer, he has, I think, a little bit of interest from Mississippi State. The good thing is we can hard sell these 2, so at least we have that going for us. But we can't offer these guys scholarships because it's going to take up so much of our budget. So we just have to hope and pray. Nobody else wants these guys. We have to hope that Mississippi State is too caught up in the rest of their recruiting battles that they're not really going to touch Justice Hammer. We've got 4 guys visiting today, so it's going to be a packed house for our biggest game of the year against Florida International. The Panthers are 7-2, 4-1 in conference, while we sit at 6-4, 4-2 in conference. Right now, if the season ended today, FIU would be the number 1 seed in the conference. We have actually moved down, despite our win, to 4th place, because it's Liberty and Western Kentucky who are currently ahead of us, and they both beat us. So they had the head-to-head tiebreaker over us at the moment. So even though we won last week, because of some tiebreaker rules, we fall a little bit. We're probably going to need a little bit of help if we want to make the conference title, along with winning out. We've got to beat FIU, we've got to beat Jacksonville State, and we need both of these teams to lose at least one of their last 2 games. Liberty has beaten Western Kentucky, so they had the tiebreaker over them. They play Middle Tennessee State and Kennesaw State. As for Western Kentucky, they still have to play Jacksonville State and, again, Middle Tennessee. So we're going to be big Blue Raider fans the final 2 weeks of the year. Both of those teams need to lose just one of their last 2 games, but they've both got to lose, in my opinion. So let's look at FIU. They're 7-2. They've got some good wins. They beat a very strong South Florida program. They had a double bye week. I'm not really sure how they would feel about that. They lost to Middle Tennessee off the bye, so clearly they were pretty rusty, but they've gone undefeated in conference play otherwise. Close win against Sam Houston last week, but a blowout the week before against a Liberty team who beat us. Anthony Carey, the redshirt junior, is one of the top offensive playmakers in the conference. They've got a ton of talent on defense, a really good secondary, and at quarterback, this is where things get interesting. They have J.J. Cole, the former Iowa State Cyclone, but he's injured. Their backup is Zach Marker, a redshirt senior. And this is where the storyline gets crazy. Zach Marker last year was supposed to be the original starter at Delaware, but then he gets replaced by Nick Minicucci. So you best believe that Zach Marker, in the biggest game of the Conference USA schedule, will have a major chip on his shoulder. He goes back to Delaware, his old program, who threw him aside for Nick Minicucci. Now he gets a chance to play against his old team, and the quarterback who he was replaced by in a game where if FIU wins, they basically cement themselves into the conference title. So there is so much riding in this game. The storylines could not have been scripted any better. Not to mention we've got all these recruits visiting this week as well. Jonathan Silver gets nothing on 3rd down. FIU with the quick stop as we take a look at Zach Marker in the offense. Marker's been in the offense now for a couple of weeks. The J.J. Cole injury did not just happen, and he threw 3 touchdowns in the win against Sam Houston as he gets popped by KT Say. I thought he was the one who got injured on that play. It looks like there's no love lost between these two sides. 3rd down, wide open, easy 1st down, and plenty more inside the 10, the 5, into the end zone, a touchdown for FIU. And the Panthers start this one on the board. A routine RPO that ends up as a score for Kevin Schaefer, the senior tight end. 2nd down, here's Sean Wilson in space, past the 50, past the 40, out of bounds. A really nice play for Wilson. We need the offense to look better than we did last week. That was a pretty pitiful showing against Middle Tennessee. 43 seconds left in the quarter, play action. Minicucci up the seam, intercepted! His first time being picked off since week 3. It's been about 2 months. Alan Gales, the senior linebacker, forces the takeaway, and FIU looks very strong in the opening quarter. We've got to pick things up here in quarter number 2. 3rd and 7. Marker scans the field under pressure, hoisted up, and it's nearly caught. Luckily, we're able to jar it out. Delaware gets it back on offense. It's a trick play for Jonathan Silver, but he loses yardage on 3rd and inches. So we've got to punt the ball. I was hoping that we would kind of catch them off guard. Clearly, it did not work. Florida International has it back. 3rd and 4. It's a screen with nowhere to go. A great tackle by Cox, and we'll get it back on offense with 1.5 minutes to go. There's Sean Wilson inside the 5-yard line. A really nice throw by Minicucci. 5 catches, 67, 6-7 yards for Wilson in the first half. 2nd and goal, 1.5 minutes to go. Jonathan Silver ties the game. The senior is able to knock this one up at 7 apiece. We're definitely looking better in the second quarter. The defense has settled down after a poor opening drive. The offense is able to get the touchdown. Minicucci seems to have responded well off of the interception, his first in like 2 months. Here is Marker on 3rd down. His pass is dropped. It's once again Keyshawn Cox who makes the play, but unfortunately we're starting at the 6-yard line. Minicucci on the run. He's going to keep it himself, certainly getting us out of safety territory with a run of more than 20 yards before nearly destroying Coach Kieran's legs. 30 seconds left in the half. Minicucci gets sacked by Kenton Simmons, and that would stall out the drive, bringing us to the break in a close one. Another defensive battle, knotted up at 7 apiece. The offense has been kind of on a cold streak over the last week and a half. The defense, though, is playing their best football of the year over the last month. FIU starts on offense to open up the third quarter, 2nd and 11. Anthony Carey with the carry, and there he goes, trying to break forward. He gets it to about the 45. They've got to give him the ball more. I thought he was pretty good in the first half, as they seem to be moving it pretty well. Play action for Marker. That one is caught with plenty of room. Their offense is moving it really nicely now inside to about the 25-yard line. That was JoJo Stone. 2nd down and 12. Under a lot of pressure is Marker. He is sacked by Noah Matthews, giving FIU a challenging 3rd and 17. And they're not in slam dunk field goal range, especially with the heavy rain today, as this clock sits at about 4.5 minutes. Marker looks to throw it. His pass is broken away. FIU decided to punt the ball rather than kick the field goal, and the game remains tied at 7. 2nd down, up the middle. That one is hauled in. Elijah Sessoms with the reception, close to the 50. But 1:40 left in the third. Minikuchi's got his man. It's Byron Ellison past the 20. Whoop, whoop. Juke move past the 10. A huge play for Delaware, and we are in striking distance trying to take our first lead of the game. With about 30 seconds left in the quarter, Ellison goes the wrong way, and that'll make it a 4th down and goal at about the 6-yard line. We're just going to take the points. There hasn't been a lot of scoring in this game, so even just a field goal, I think, really increases our room for error, and it puts us ahead, likely going into the 4th. It's just 20 seconds now in the third. It's Anthony Carey, gets a block, gets another. Carey breaks away from Cox, and on the first play of the drive, FIU is right back ahead. 83-yard touchdown. A huge momentum boost for the Panthers. Right as we took our first lead of the game, it lasted all of about 15 seconds. And FIU is on top after all, going into the 4th quarter. 14-10, 2nd down to start the quarter. Jonathan Silver with room, gets the first, past the 50 to about the 45-yard line. Just because we allowed the big play doesn't mean we need to panic, but we need the offense to play better than they have over the last 2 weeks. Really nice throw into the hands of Sean Wilson, who gets it to around the 30. Less than 7 minutes to go now on 1st down. Minikuchi looks to throw it. Has time, scrambles, looking to run with it. He'll tuck it past the 20. Looking to get by the 15. Look at him go inside the 10. Like a bulldozer is Nick Minikuchi, who's got us in striking distance of regaining the lead. With 5 minutes to go, 3rd and goal. Minikuchi backs up, end zone, touchdown! Delaware back ahead. It's Elijah Sessoms with the score. A huge drive by Minikuchi in the offense to make it 17-14. So now FIU will have their turn to respond. 2nd and 8, play action. Marker looks to throw it on the run. That one is caught, breaking away. A 1st and more and a huge gain for FIU. Near the 50, it's McGuire Anderson, the junior, who makes the play. Now it's 3rd down and 3. 2:40 to go. Marker looks to run, gets the 1st down. As the clock stops with about 2.5 minutes to go, FIU needs a touchdown to take the lead. Field goal ties it. Final play before the 2-minute timeout, it's Anthony Carey. Up the middle, gets the 1st down. And really at this point, I don't think FIU is playing against the clock. If anything, we're playing against the clock. 3rd down, Marker under pressure, fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Delaware! Oh my goodness, the big fella! Looking to take it all the way, come on! 10, 5, touchdown! It's a thick 6! A big man score! And the Blue Hens lead by multiple possessions. Trey Scott with the strip sack, and Dominic Brogna on the fumble return of 66 yards. 6'2", 290 pounds. I mean, he exerted everything he had on that run to take it the distance. The play of the season for Delaware. A 10-point lead for the Blue Hens on the scoop and score by the big boy. 24-14. All of a sudden, FIU is down by 10. They're going to start with a run here. It's Anthony Carey with room to the left side. Carey looking for another big one. Jukes by Ali. And Anthony Carey again. A one-play touchdown. And FIU has it right back within 3. I felt like the first half of this game was kind of unexciting. And then bam, bam, bam. So many big plays in the second half as it's 24-21. FIU's got to go for the onside kick now as it is recovered by the Blue Hens. Now we're in position to chew some clock and try to seal the deal. 2nd down, play action. Minikuchi's going to roll out to the right. Look at all that space. Come on. That's too easy. Good night. Minicucci with the first down, and that will seal it. 5 wins in a row for the Delaware Blue Hens, who improved to 7-4, and now are in a real spot of making the conference title. Anthony Carey still gets the player of the game. You know what? That's valid. He was obviously the best player on the field, so I can't really argue with that. But still, a huge win for Delaware against a Florida International team who was first place in the conference at 7-2 going into this game. But we showed not only can we hang with the big dogs, but maybe we are one of the big dogs of this conference. Both teams ran it unbelievably well. Like, what, 450 combined rushing yards? Minicucci, 18 of 27, 189, a touchdown and a pick. Yeah, he was a little bit iffy in that first half, but really got it going late. Silver was impressive. Minicucci was really good on the ground. Through the air, Wilson with 83. Ellison had a big game. Sessoms with 50 yards and a touchdown. I think the defense on a snap-by-snap basis was pretty good. We allowed too many big runs. Anthony Carey had like 220 rushing yards, including 2 75-plus yard touchdowns. That cannot happen. But what I do like was the big strip sack. Trey Scott forcing it away, and Dominic Brogna with the scoop and score to win us the game, essentially. We've now won 5 in a row. We're 7-4 overall. We sit at 5-2 in conference. And I've got to imagine the guys who visited certainly enjoyed the show against FIU. So hopefully we can position ourselves to get some commitments from these guys pretty soon, because we're in first place for all of them. As we simulate the week, we get our first commitment of the year. 2-star edge rusher Sione Taliaferro is the first player to pledge his commitment to Delaware. Now, it is a verbal commitment, so that does not mean he's 100% coming here. We still have to recruit him away from Louisiana Monroe. We're certainly in the driver's seat, but it's not a gimme that we're going to get him. That's, of course, one of the big changes inside of College Football 27 this year. So we have to be careful with how we utilize his points, because we have a big lead. I think we can put less into him and focus more on these other guys, but we cannot go completely zero on him and have him potentially flip. We have a bye week here in week 12, so more opportunity to focus on our recruiting board. I think I'm going to start Taliaferro at 10 points for now. I think that'll help us keep enough of a lead on ULM. He does visit them next week, which I am a little worried about. Only one prospect ready to visit. It is Jamison Forte. The plan was he was always going to come in week 13, and now it is official. He will be here, but he will be all alone for our game against Jacksonville State. Poor guy. So as we look at where we are in terms of the conference race, we are in third place. It is pretty much a 5-way tie in terms of losses with 2. But Liberty and Western Kentucky are the 2 teams with the same record as us at 5-2. Our 2 losses, remember, come to Liberty and Western Kentucky. So both of them did not lose last week, which is unfortunate. Liberty beat Middle Tennessee. They have a bye this week. They play Kennesaw State next week. Western Kentucky beat Jacksonville State. They play Middle Tennessee this week for their final game of the season. If they do, then that would likely position them ahead of us in the final standings. Let's move into week 13 now, the final game of the regular season for the Blue Hens. We still have a shot at the conference title, but we're going to need some things to go our way, including a win today. Jamerson Forte is visiting, while quarterback Max Kavka is down to 5. He's an intriguing prospect. That would be a big get for us, and maybe a long-term starter at the QB position. So as we look at the standings, Western Kentucky lost. There's only 2 teams with 2 losses. Not only did Western Kentucky lose, which is helpful, but Florida International and Missouri State, who also had 2 losses, they all lost last week. So we are in a position where we fully control our own fate. If we win, we're in, no matter what. We don't need any help from anybody else. We just have to take control of our own destiny against the Jacksonville State team, who also has a lot to play for. At 5-6, their bowl eligibility hangs in the balance. Jacksonville State's a 71. They're one of the higher-rated teams in the conference. However, they've been a little iffy this year, although they are coming off a win last week against Sam Houston. This is a fun roster. I went deeper into them in my You Need to Rebuild These Teams in Dynasty video. They've got some fun players in the secondary, guys like Traquan Fegans at corner. Safety, Caleb Nix. Obviously, I'm a little partial to him because that's Bo Nix and Tez Johnson's brother. Him and Tez really look like twins. They're probably identical. At quarterback, it's Caden Creel, one of the most talented players in Conference USA. He's been a little up and down this year, just 11 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. But I would say he's the most talented QB in the conference other than Mini Cucci. They've also got wide receiver DeAndre Johnson, who is 6'8". Yeah, he large. Despite not having a game to play in Week 12, I don't think that week really could have gone much better for us. With Western Kentucky, Missouri State, and FIU all losing, we are one of just 2 teams in the Conference USA with only 2 in-conference losses. It's us and Liberty. So therefore, we control our own fate. We don't need help. As long as we win this game, we are going to the conference title. If we lose, then it's not happening, because of those 3 lost teams, Western Kentucky has the tiebreaker over us. So we would guaranteed be below them and Liberty. So winning in, losing out. How about this on the first play? Byron Ellison, are you kidding me? He's going to take it all the way. 83 yards for a touchdown. What a start to the final regular season game of the year for Delaware. Byron Ellison, an unbelievable play to put us up within just seconds of this game. The first play from scrimmage, and we already lead at 7-0. That's how you start the most important game of the year, folks. An 83-yarder to the house, our longest play of the year. Here is Jacksonville State looking to respond. A very nice run. It's Jordan Savage, the true freshman, who makes the play. Aiden Creel now looking to run, and this kid can move. Taunts the defender into the end zone for a touchdown. And Jacksonville State ties it at 7. Delaware back with it on 3rd down. Mini Cucci, nobody's open. Hoists it down the field. Tipped it incomplete. Trying to get it for Dwayne Lofton. So that'll force a punt. The Gamecocks get it back. 3rd down and long for Jacksonville State. Creel looks to throw it. Hoists it up. Johnson, 6'8". Oh, he's got plenty of room. DeAndre Johnson. Touchdown, Jacksonville State. An 80-yarder puts them ahead. No shortage of action in this first quarter. Can somebody please explain that play to me, though? It's one thing for the 6'8" receiver to make the jump ball catch. That's to be expected. He's taller than anybody on the field. But the problem I have here, after he catches it, why did our one defender tackle the other? Like, that's the wrong guy. Was the cornerback gambling? Does he have a parlay on this game? 14-7. Things are only looking downhill. A sack for Jacksonville State. 2nd and 21. Picked off at around the 50-yard line. And Jacksonville State's got all the momentum right now. The interception by Jaheim Jenkins. Ever since that opening play touchdown where it looked like we started the game off so well, things have gotten worse in a hurry. Up the middle, Jacksonville State looking for more. Christian Lando all the way to about the 1-yard line, a gain of 25. Jordan Savage trying to break the tackle. Look at that. Fighting for yardage, in for a score. A pitiful display of tackling there, and honestly a pitiful quarter. Other than the first play, we look awful. Jonathan Silver bounces off a blocker, and there he goes on the first play of the second quarter. Jonathan Silver, touchdown Delaware. A 55-yard score, and we've got it back within 1 possession. This game has been nuts so far. It feels like every play is such a big one. Our defense continues to struggle, though. Caden Creel, short throw, another touchdown for Jacksonville State. This time by David Alpers III, the sophomore tight end. And it's 28-14. Jacksonville State has scored a touchdown every time they've had the ball today. Mini Cucci picked off on 3rd and 5. Miles Butler with plenty of room. The Blue Hens are not going to catch up. A pick 6 for Jacksonville State. And the Gamecocks are turning this into a blowout. Our biggest game of the year, and we are completely selling the bag. A 63-yard pick 6, and it's 35-14. We've only allowed at least 35 points once all year. 3rd and 10, Mini Cucci looks to scramble. Does he get the first? Not quite. He's close. We're going to call a timeout, and we're going to go for it. Why the hell not? There's 9 seconds left. Mini Cucci's going to look to throw it. Scrambles to the right side. Short throw is caught. Sessoms out of bounds with 5 seconds, and we're just going to try to take the points. 47-yarder for McGee is up, and it is good. At the halftime buzzer, 35-17. Jacksonville State leads big. We had a long rushing touchdown on the first play of the first quarter, a long rushing touchdown on the first play of the second quarter. However, every other play, we look horrible. The defense has been so good as of late. What happened? We look terrible on that side of the ball. Not to mention, we don't even start with possession. Although Caden Creel loses a lot of yards on the first down sack. Gavin Moole, the linebacker, brings him down. We've got to get some big plays. Maybe a takeaway on defense. Creel, under pressure, fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Delaware. There's the big play we needed, speaking it into existence. The defense with a quick takeaway. Jawarren Corbin forces and recovers the fumble. Okay, the door's open. Let's take advantage. Jonathan Silver, touchdown. His second of the game. His final home game as a Blue Hen here on Senior Day. And that'll make it a 2-score lead. Now we're going to go for 2. Try to make it a field goal deficit. Minikuchi looks to throw it, looking for Sessoms. Boink, cannot hold on. It remains 35-23. Jacksonville State gets it back. Creel on 3rd and 7. Misses up the middle. And it seems like the tides are starting to shift a little bit. We look really good in the third quarter. Minikuchi on 3rd down. Scrambles, hoping to get something with his legs. Honestly, we'll take that. It's a gain of about 5. I'm going to go for it on 4th down and 5. Minikuchi blitz. Has Wilson for the first down. Past the 30-yard line is Sean Wilson. Good job by Minikuchi to get rid of the ball quickly. He was under a ton of pressure there. And now here we are near the goal line. 1st and goal. Touchdown! Sean Wilson holds it in. And just like that, Delaware's got it within 1 score. In a game where everything is on the line. Winning, we go to the conference championship. Losing, we're out. I love the fight that we're showing down the stretch, but we're not done. A pivotal 3rd down sack for the defense to get the stop. Aiden Creel hurt on the play. That'll be worth monitoring going into the 4th quarter, as it's Corbin with his second of the game. He had the strip sack earlier. 2nd and 17. Minikuchi under pressure, and he is wrapped up. And now Nick Minikuchi gets injured. Miles Butler and Jawan Campbell bring him down. Riley Triulo is in at quarterback on 3rd and 24 as he connects with Dwayne Lofton, and that'll put us in field goal range. That's fine. We'll take the points. We'll try to cut the lead to 2. 47-yarder for Eli McGee is up, and it squeaks through. Eli McGee this regular season has not missed a single kick. Field goal or extra point. 2nd and 10, another loss of yards for Jacksonville State. I don't know what Coach Riddle told these guys in the halftime locker room, but clearly it worked. The new quarterback, Jack Moran, is sacked again. Noah Jefferson brings him down, and we're going to get the ball back, only needing a field goal. However, the backup quarterback is the one in the game. Silver loses yardage on 3rd and 2. 4th and 4, we're going to hurry back to the line. Riley Trijulo, the sophomore, looks to be the hero. A first down probably puts us in field goal range, and it would allow us to presumably choose some clock and punch our ticket into the Conference USA title. It's an RPO, and Silver doesn't get it. Why did we hand the ball off so quick? My intention was to throw the ball on that play, and the receiver was open. I wanted to throw it. But now Jacksonville State gets a first down, and we're going to have to start calling our timeouts. Could this comeback be too little too late? 2nd down, that'll do it. A first down run for Christian Lando. And Delaware, who won 5 games in a row, to bring them in this spot to where we could punch a ticket into the conference title, will ultimately fall short despite a valiant comeback effort in the second half. We dropped this game 35-33, and it looks like Delaware will not be playing in the Conference USA title game. We finished the regular season 7-5, 5-3 in conference, likely awaiting our bowl game. This one stings because we had done so much work in the second half of the year to allow ourselves to go to the conference title. At one point, we were dead last in conference play. We had to pass 8 teams in order to make the conference championship, and all we had to do was win this game today, and we would get there. We played phenomenal in the second half, but you cannot play as poorly as we did in the first half and expect to win. We were awful in the first half. We allowed 35 points, and we relied on 2 huge runs to carry the load scoring-wise. The passing game was not great. Minikuchi with his first multi-interception game of the year. We couldn't really run the ball because we were down the whole time, so we had to pace the game out by throwing the ball, which is unfortunate because we ran it so well. Wilson with 82, Graves with 40, Lofton with 47. The passing game certainly got more comfortable in the second half, but unfortunately, it was a case of too little too late. The defense took a complete 180. They were awesome in the second half, give them their credit, but the first half was so terrible. We couldn't get a stop to save our lives. We're in a recruiting battle with safety Dalton Alleman. We've got the lead over Akron. He visited back in Week 11, the FIU game. I think we're going to get him. It's not a gimme, but hopefully we do. A couple of these 3-stars are down to 3, LaShawn Thompson and Larry Thacker. The problem with Thompson is that we no longer currently fit his deal breaker, so that could be a problem. It is playing style, so it's one that we can adjust. Meanwhile, we'll get to take a look at who is playing in the conference title game. I would presume Liberty is going to get one of the spots. The other is going to Delaware. How did we pull this off? Despite losing to Jacksonville State, we're going to the conference title anyway. How is that possible? So it was a 3-way tie for second place between Delaware, FIU, and Western Kentucky. So I kind of figured we had the tiebreaker over FIU, but we don't have the tiebreaker over Western Kentucky. That must mean FIU beat Western Kentucky, right? Well, as it turns out, those two teams didn't play each other. So I have no idea how we would have gotten this spot. I Googled the tiebreakers for Conference USA. It said head-to-head was the first tiebreaker, so I'm wondering if I'm missing something. That should be Western Kentucky's spot, not ours. But I'm not complaining. We get an opportunity to win the conference title in year 1, and we get a rematch with our rival Liberty, who we lost to in double overtime earlier in the year. This new rivalry is turning out to be pretty fun. We had the crazy game against them back in week 5, and now we get to see them for a second time in the Conference USA Championship game, looking to beat Liberty for the first time in program history. Liberty has had a very good season. They've been the best team in the conference this year. 8-4 overall, 6-2 in Conference USA play. They're the highest rated team in the conference as a 74 overall, and they get to play at home, which definitely makes us a major underdog. These guys have a lot of talent, as we certainly know. They ran it down our throats and scored 45 points against us. Kanye Udo leads the backfield. Still no Cam Davis. He's been out since the first game of the year. But they've got a really good freshman in Jalen Coleman. And, of course, their monster quarterback, Jalen Henderson, who ran for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns against us. Jalen Henderson's been doing this all year. It's not just us. Okay, it was largely us. But he has another 100-yard game. He has multiple multi-touchdown performances. This might be the best rushing quarterback in the entire country. That boy cold. We're going to have to find a way to stop him. We absolutely could not in our first matchup back at home. Now here we are on the road where the stakes are a lot bigger. The Conference USA Championship game between Delaware and Liberty. We need to come up with a name for this rivalry. You guys have got to give me some suggestions down below in the comments. 2nd and 8. They'll start with Coleman, the freshman, and he's got plenty of room to the outside. This is why we lost to Liberty early in the year. Too many big plays on the ground. I'm a little worried about our defense. As much as they've played well in the second half of the year, we played horribly against Liberty earlier this season, and we played horribly last week against Jacksonville State. The Flames are able to score a touchdown on the opening drive with Kanye Udo, and it's already 7-0. 2nd and inches for Delaware, play action. Minikucci up the middle. That one is caught. It's Dwayne Lofton who gets us closer to the end zone. Following play, Minikucci. End zone, not quite in as Graves, but he gets into the 1. That'll bring us now to start the second quarter. First play of the quarter, touchdown for Verona Ellison Jr. And the Blue Hens knot this game up at 7 apiece. So it looks like we might have a continuation of our Week 6 game where it was just points galore both ways. 87 combined points in that matchup. But both defenses have started to settle in the second quarter, although it is Liberty who is marching down the field with a big run there by Udo. They bring it into the red zone. Second down with less than a minute to go. Jalen Henderson will carry the flame into the end zone for a score. And Liberty is ahead 14-7. We've got 34 seconds now. Let's see what the offense can do with a couple timeouts in our pocket. Minikucci on the run. That one is caught. Bryson Graves gets it to about the 50. Now only 18 seconds left. 3rd down and 3. Minikucci has time, looks to scramble up the middle, runs for the first, and a big run at that. Sliding near the 20. We're going to use a timeout. That's our final. We're in position to kick a field goal, but we might as well take a couple shots for the end zone. Minikucci has Wilson. Got it! Touchdown! And Delaware ties it with just seconds left in the first half. Sean Wilson with the score. He did not look like a number 1 receiver the first month of the year, but in Conference USA play, he has really turned it on, and he has become one of the best players on this team, which is always what we expected going into the year. We've got a good one in the Conference USA title game, knotted up at 14 with Liberty. It's anyone's game in the second half. in this newfound rivalry where we look for revenge from our early season loss. 2nd and 10 play action. Minicucci down the field into traffic. He's got Graves, his 5th catch of the game, 60 yards for Bryson Graves. 3rd down and long. That one is caught. It's not going to be enough for the first down, but it should put us in position to kick a reasonable field goal. This one is up and good for Eli McGee from 42 yards out. He is still perfect on the year, and Delaware leads it for the first time today, 17-14. 3rd and 4. Udo does not get it. The defense is there with the stop. Liberty's going to punt it, and we'll get it back. With a minute left in the 3rd. Play action. Minicucci looks to throw it. Airs it out down the field. It is caught! Bryson Graves hauls it in. It's a gain of 41 yards. He's got over 100 yards on the day. Now under 30 to go in the quarter. Minicucci down the field again. It's Brandon Raymond. Nick Minicucci looks so comfortable airing the ball out right now. Final play at the 3rd. Sean Wilson. Nobody's in front of him. Oh, he didn't get in the end zone. You idiot. How did you not score? Luckily, it's not all bad because he would score on the very next play. 2nd touchdown of the game for Sean Wilson. And Delaware leads by 2 scores early in the 4th for a team that halfway through the year was in dead last in the conference. We're now 6 minutes away from winning the conference title as we get another 3rd down stop. Liberty feels like they've got to go for it on 4th down and 2. Henderson hands it off. Udo doesn't get it. Gavin Moll with the tackle of the year. And now we are in position to choose some clock and try to seal the deal. Byron Ellison. That's not a first down. What? The booth is going to review it, thankfully. That might be the easiest first down I've ever seen in my life. He was at least 2 yards past the marker. I don't know how that was not originally a first down, but luckily the play was reversed. Following play, Wilson, touchdown! That's a hat trick! Sean Wilson, his 3rd of the game, and it's a 3-score lead for the Blue Hens with less than 4.5 minutes to play. We have completely taken this game by the horns in the second half. 4th and 10, Henderson's incomplete. We get another stop, and we're going to look to continue to chew more clock and end this game for good. 3rd and 10, Ellison does not get the first, but he is close. A first down basically ends the game, so we might as well. 4th and 1, Silver. He's got it! A first down run for Jonathan Silver, and that will do it! An unlikely Conference USA champion, it's the Delaware Blue Hens. 31-14 your final. A team that, again, at one point, halfway through the year, we were dead last in conference play. That was our loss to Liberty earlier in the season. We were 2-4. We hadn't won an in-conference game. I did not think we had any chance of winning the Conference USA title. I was hoping we would just make a bowl game. I knew this team was really talented, though. Going into the year, I put high expectations on these guys. We had the best quarterback in the conference. We had the best offensive playmaker in Sean Wilson, the best defensive playmaker in KT Say. We've got a team coming off a 7-win season that can absolutely achieve these heights, and we're able to add a trophy to the trophy case here in year number 1 as the champions of the Conference USA. It was a really close game in the first half, but then we really took control in the second half. The defense was super impressive down the stretch. Liberty really tried to run the ball on us, and they were pretty solid, but they couldn't throw it. Jalen Henderson went 0 for 4 on his last possession. Before that, he threw 4 passes the whole game. So we kind of knew they were going to run it, and because of that, the run defense was certainly a lot more successful than the first matchup against these guys. They still ran it reasonably solid, although Henderson was really held in check. Nick Minicucci was phenomenal, 19 of 24, 241, 3 touchdowns. Silver was good. Ellison was good. Through the air, Sean Wilson, 8 catches, 80 yards, 3 tubs. Graves at 100 yards. Those 2 receivers have been so good for us throughout the course of the year. And then defensively, we were awesome in the second half. Not a ton of big plays. We didn't really get turnovers. We didn't really get sacks, but we didn't need to because the defense was that impressive in the second half. Not only do we win the Conference USA title, but we get the motivator and tactician archetypes unlocked. So we're able to really balance out Coach Kieran now with a Conference USA ring on his finger. I wouldn't say we conquered the conference, though. We really shouldn't have been here, but got lucky off of a faulty tiebreaker. Our most important regular season game of the year, we lost. But hey, we won the conference. That's all that matters. We're currently projected to play in the Cure Bowl against Sacramento State. I would assume that's before we won the conference title, though, and since we were the underdog going into the game, I imagine our bowl will probably change. We land another commitment. Dalton Alleman has hard committed on National Signing Day. No verbal commitment, He is locked in. Our second commitment to the program. That's a big one. We also have Antoine Tutt and Justice Hammer down to 3. The 2 best players on the board. The 2 near 4-star skill position players. This might actually happen. Nobody is going after Antoine Tutt. This guy could change our offense for the next few years. With Hammer, Mississippi State is still kind of in and out of the mix, but we're the favorite, I think. We're putting points into him. They're not. We did end up getting some weekly awards, obviously, given that there were only 2 teams who played in the Conference USA. The chances are kind of slim. But Sean Wilson did win the Offensive Player of the Week with his 3 touchdowns, deservedly so. Our bowl game has not been announced yet, interestingly. I guess we've got to wait another week. I still cannot believe we won the conference after we were in last place halfway through the year. That is just an unbelievable storyline. But we'll simulate the week into the first week of bowls. Running back Dylan Isaac is down to 5. We are not amongst that 5, but it's not that big of a deal because he's only a 2-star. If we get that top 500 running back in Antoine Tutt, then we'll be okay. The Heisman Trophy ceremony is coming up next. Let's see what this looks like. I haven't gotten to see this in game yet. Our candidates are Sam Levitt, Trinidad Chambliss, Kawan Lacey, and John Mateer. And ultimately the winner, even though he's completely looking away from the camera, is Sam Levitt. The LSU quarterback, he threw for, I think, 4,600 yards, 46 total touchdowns. He completely deserved it. Although I would have voted for Kawan Lacey just based on the outfit alone. Clearly a bold look. I respect the confidence. But unfortunately for him, it does not happen. And Sam Levitt takes home the Heisman Trophy winner, the redshirt junior at LSU. As for us, we are in fact going to the Cure Bowl, and we will be playing against Sacramento State. So the projection that we saw during the conference championship week is proving correct. Sacramento State is in their first season in the FBS. They won 8 games. So much like us, they're kind of a newbie, but they've done really well so far. They blew out the other newbie, North Dakota State, who went 10-3 and won their conference title. So that's an impressive win for the Hornets. They had their first season in the MAC going 5-3, but they've only played 1 game over the last month, and that game was at Hawaii, which is quite the travel. A full month's worth of traveling in 1 weekend. Their highest-rated player is only an 80 overall, that being running back Jamar Curtis, who does have over 1,000 yards this year. They are a pretty deep roster, though, at a 71 overall, led by redshirt junior quarterback Carson Conklin. 15 touchdowns, but only 45% completion percentage. He does keep the ball out of harm's way, though, with just 7 interceptions. So let's hop into the final game of the year. The Cure Bowl in Orlando. The champions of the Conference USA, the Delaware Blue Hens, are set to face off against Sacramento State. 2 of the FBS's newest programs who really have not had a major problem adjusting to life with the big kids. It only took us 2 seasons to win a conference title. We'll see if we can win Delaware their second straight bowl, as the Hornets will be the ones to start on offense. I found this statistic interesting as we loaded into the game. They're 32% on third downs. How are you 8-4, yet 32% on third down? That's unbelievable. We are at 48%, which is a lot more normal. First play of the game, Carson Conklin's pass is caught. Jamar Curtis with a spin move. A really nice play by the talented running back who can make plays in space as a receiver as well. Third down, Conklin looks to throw it. That one is broken away. Calabote got a hand on it, and they're going to have to punt it. Third down for the Blue Hens. Mini Coochie's got Sean Wilson, and he gets the first on a 3rd down and 16. Final play of the quarter, 1st and goal. Mini Coochie looks to throw it. That one is caught. Dwayne Lofton, the senior, in for a touchdown. And Delaware finishes up the first quarter with a score, and that'll make it 7-0. 3rd down and 14 now for the Hornets. Here's Conklin looking to throw it. Conklin under pressure, under a lot of pressure. Wide open, it's dropped. How did he not catch that? That is a horrible play by the receiver. 3rd and 3, Mini Coochie hoists it up, and it's caught! Dwayne Lofton showboats into the end zone for a touchdown. 73 yards, our longest passing play of the year. Lofton with 2 touchdowns in the first half, and the Blue Hens make it 14-0. What a play. Sacramento State back with it, RPO. Fumble! Noah Jefferson with the force, and it's picked up by Khalil Ali. Another big play for Delaware, and we've got all the momentum right now with a 73-yard touchdown, a turnover on defense. How about respond on offense? Okay, we don't. But since we have such good field position, we'll settle for a field goal anyway. 27-yarder for Eli McGee. It's up and it is good. 17-0. A 3-score lead for the Blue Hens still in the first half. Minute 23 left to go. 3rd down and 10. Conklin looks to throw it under pressure. That one is incomplete, and we've got a chance to add to the lead even more. 30 seconds left in the half. Minikucci wide open. It's Bryson Graves. His clock is continuing to move, though. 14 seconds, 3rd and 4. Minikucci looks to throw it. Scrambles. He's got room. Opens the back door and is in for a touchdown. Taunting the defense along the way. Our best half of the year in this ball game. 24-0. The offense looks brilliant. The defense looks brilliant. I mean, this is just such an awesome way to cap off the year. Assuming we keep this going, over our last 2 halves of football, we've outscored 2 pretty good teams, 41-0. 3rd down. Jonathan Silver does not get the first down. Sacramento State was due for a stop. They get it back on offense. Broken tackle. A big run on 1st down. That's the 2nd-string running back, Sincere Rainey. Past the 30, a gain of 23 yards. Tied for their longest offensive play of the game. 3rd down and 3. Nowhere to go on the RPO. And it's decision time for Sacramento State. They say screw it. We're down 24-0. Might as well go for it. Conklin looks to throw it. Rolls out. He's got Rainey, who gets popped in the backfield by Noah Matthews. We'll get it back in the 4th quarter. Now it's all about chewing clock. We've got this big lead. No reason to play around. As Brandon Raymond gets a block and a huge gain. Raymond has had his best performance of the year. 5 catches for 83 yards. He's a guy who's going to play a huge role, I think, for us next year. I'm loving these extra snaps. As Minikucci gets sacked on 3rd down. It's a 4th and 8. We could kick the field goal, but McGee's perfect. I don't want to ruin his perfect mark, so we're going to go for it. And Minikucci's going to get it. Sliding forward with about 6 minutes to go. Now 3.5 left. We've done a good job chewing clock as Minikucci adds a late score, making it 31-0. Likely his final touchdown as a junior, and possibly his final touchdown as a Blue Hen if he were to enter the transfer portal. 3.5 minutes to go. Another fumble! That one was clear as day. It popped out, and Delaware's got it again. A complete blowout. This time, Gavin Moole has the force. It's recovered by Kyshawn Cox. And we get another touchdown. This time, Jonathan Silver, the senior, with his final collegiate touchdown, his 11th rushing score of the year. As it's 3rd down and 7. Conklin sacked by Gavin Moole. And they're just going to punt the ball at this point. Wade the white flag down 38-0. What a way to end the year. I'm really proud of the way this team has fought in the second half of the year. From 2-4 and in last place to winning 7 of our last 8. Winning the Conference USA title, winning the Cure Bowl, and finishing season 1 with a record of 9-5. If you told me this team was going to get 9 wins halfway through the year, I would say, how is that even possible? We have 6 games left. How on earth are we going to win 9 games? But here we are, and we do it in dominant fashion to finish off. By far our best game of the year to finish things off. A really, really good showing for a Blue Hens program that's going to have a lot of momentum going into the offseason, but thus a lot of tough decisions with NIL. A lot of these faces who have led the team through the course of the year, their NIL prices are going to be kind of high. We're not going to be able to afford everyone. We're going to have to be very selective with the players that we pick. We'll start, though, with recapping this great win. Nick Minikucci, 15 of 20, 251, 2 scores, 12.5 yards per attempt. Not completion, per attempt. The run game was really good through the air. Raymond had 83. Lofton had the 2 scores. Wilson was a little bit banged up. He was kind of quiet, only 1 catch. And then the defense was excellent. We stopped the run. We sent pressure. We forced takeaways with 2 fumbles. A big win, finishing out the year 9-5, adding yet another trophy to the trophy case here in year 1, taking home the Staff DNA Cure Bowl in Orlando in blowout fashion. So we've got a couple of trophies that we're able to add in what was a really, really fun first season. But now we've got to figure out what this offseason is going to look like and which players are we going to prioritize through NIL. This team has a ton of positive momentum going into the offseason, winning 7 of our last 8 games. It's obvious that this was a phenomenal team for Conference USA standards. But I kind of went into this year thinking that year 1 is probably going to be our best team for probably 3 to 4 years, because a lot of these upperclassmen are going to want big NIL packages. Nick Minikucci's going to want a lot. Are we going to be able to bring him back, or will we need a new quarterback? The run game was great with Silver and Ellison, but Silver's a senior, and Ellison's NIL price is going to go up. Sean Wilson could probably play for any power conference school he wants. 70 catches, 793, 9 touchdowns. His price will be large. Bryson Graves had a great season. His price will be pretty big. On the offensive line, a guy like Noah Rosahawk at left tackle. I'm sure teams will be calling his phone And then you look at the defense with all the great players on this side of the ball. KT Say and Gavin Newell, upperclassmen, may be looking to compete for titles. Younger guys like Noah Jefferson and Jamarion Kolabodi, those guys could be pillars on a power conference defense for the next 3 years. I would certainly suspect those guys are going to garner a lot of interest. So we're going to have to be certainly selective with the guys we pick. Oregon State and Southern Miss are offering his coaching, or at least they're expressing interest in a coaching spot, but we're staying at Delaware. For early National Signing Day, Taliaferro and Alaman both signed, so those two guys have officially signed the dotted line. I know the class doesn't look great. 128th with no NIL. The 1,925th and the 1,926th ranked players. But if this plan works out early in the offseason, I think we're going to have a really talented class of recruits and transfers. Nick Minicucci wins the Player of the Week. We end up with a couple new coordinators. Mark Carney, the head coach at Kent State, is now our offensive coordinator. And we also ended up with a new defensive coordinator as well, although I think the defensive coordinator we hired is a fictional auto-generated coach because I Googled him and I could not find any information on him. But it looks like Alexander Odell will be responsible for calling the defense this season. SMU wins the national championship over Ole Miss. How about that? Who could have seen that one coming? So the Mustangs get the job done at 14-2. It was kind of a chalky playoff. The top 4 seeds made it to the Final Four. Tennessee and Indiana were the other 2 teams who got there. And then SMU wins 34-27 in a good one over Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss, no touchdowns, 6 sacks. Kevin Jennings throws for 3 scores, and a huge game through the air for Jalen Hale, 7 for $143, the transfer from the University of Alabama. So we've got 1,070 Dynasty points. That's more than we had going into the season, thanks to winning the conference and winning a bowl game. But we've got to budget these points accordingly. The game recommends that we put about 30% of our budget into roster NIL. Right now, that's at 59%. Our recruiting NIL is suggested for 25%. Right now, that's at 4%. The plan is we're going to put a lot more into roster NIL versus recruiting NIL, but that number is going to be a lot higher than 4% because of the transfer portal. So we're going to have to be a little bit picky with how many players we give points to. That's where things get tough. Sean Wilson wants 340. That's 30% of our Dynasty points right there. Say wants 250. Minicucci wants 285. Moole wants about 200. And then even the younger guys, like in the secondary, Kolabodi wants a lot of points. Noah Jefferson presumably would want an increase, I would think. Receiver, Brandon Raymond, Byron Ellison, all of these guys want a lot of points. So we've got to be selective with where we give these to. Do we want to prioritize quality of players or quantity? Focus on the young guys and maybe let these older players go. Because I don't want to lose guys like Brandon Raymond and Bryson Graves. Does it make sense to choose the 2 of them, or does it make sense to choose a guy like Sean Wilson, who's only one player and is going to cost a lot, but is better than those guys? And for the players we don't choose, should we just not give them any NIL at all? If we figure out that keeping Sean Wilson probably isn't feasible, should I just move him all the way down to 0? I'm curious to hear some thoughts down below in the comments on how we should use our NIL and what you guys thought about the format of today's video. Next episode, we'll get through the offseason. We'll take a look at our new team, and we will get through season number 2 with the Blue Hens. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Peace out.